The podcast on Haunted Hill will contain spoilers and swearing.
I am the devil, and I am here to do the devil's work.
Please hold this, Michael. Be one of us.
I didn't tell you my name.
Hang up.
I didn't tell them my name.
They're all part of it. They're all parts of it.
Come. It is time to keep your appointment.
Hello and welcome to the podcast on Haunted Hill, episode 141. My name is Gav.
My name is Dan.
We are here.
This isn't a musical, don't worry.
You are going to follow.
Sorry. We are here on the Haunted Hill.
To bring you words and stuff.
And that's it. Hello, welcome Gav, welcome me,
And
welcome
almost
listeners.
Halloween.
Almost
Halloween.
Yes, we're getting close to it now.
Yes.
As we record this, we're midway through October. It's very, very exciting.
Banging out a couple in October, aren't we?
As promised, we would get a couple out because we've been a bit slack lately with life stuff. This is an exciting episode, though, because a couple of years back we started a little tradition of a little franchise face-off, didn't we? So we're going to be covering two movies from two different franchises.
Should have really done Jason versus Freddy.
I know, but we're doing Jason separately.
I know, but that's what we should have done, because that would have made sense. But
I know.
We've done our own new franchise, haven't we?
We have.
Freddy
Michael versus Freddy.
Michael, yeah.
There we go. Loomis versus Crazy Ralph. Who would win in that fight? Crazy Ralph, 100%.
Depends on what stage Loomis we're at.
Yeah.
Are we out drinking on set, Loomis, or
Yeah.
I do it because my daughter says, and it's like John Carpenter directing Loomis, you know.
So that's right. We're covering Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers.
He's returning, guys.
He's returning.
He's returning, yo.
And from the same year, 1988, we're also covering A Nightmare on Elm Street 4,
Interesting.
The Dream Warrior.
Didn't realise they're both the same year.
Yes, but
That's
before we get
interesting.
into all that shenanigans and we talk about films and all the other stuff, Gav, how are you?
Yeah.
What on earth have you been up to?
Very well. DJ'd locally at my favourite little pub in
Some
town.
hip hop, some hippity hop, didn't
I
you?
played a load of stuff. I only had one person asking a request. Pretty drunk guy.
I was going to ask you if there'd been any requests.
Yeah, and I don't drink anymore, so I'm kind of fairly used to it. But only one request, which is good because it's kind of like I was almost going to get a T-shirt that says "No requests." Because
What
I'm
was
in the
the
pub
request?
and I've like curated the music to play, and I've got some really good. I shared you the playlist. Some really good tracks on there, and especially for that pub and that place. And the request was Oasis.
Right, that fits nicely in with 90s hip hop bangers,
Went
doesn't it?
off and came back and asked for Oasis again. I haven't got Oasis.
It's still a 90s song, I suppose.
I was playing all sorts, so not just hip hop. I played like Dusty Springfield, Creedence Clearwater Revival. I finished with White Zombie. So I just put it all together, mashed up, and it's cool. And I'm playing there next month, so I think I'm sort of regular monthly playing there now, so it's cool.
Do you want to tell our listeners where, so that if they want to come along?
Yeah, the William Cobbett Pub in Farnham in Surrey, UK. Every month I'm going to DJ. So yeah,
We'll get a flyer posted up on the Facebook page. Genuinely, if anybody wants to come along,
yeah, of course.
come along and see Gav spinning the wheels of steel.
They asked me to DJ on Halloween. They said, name your price. And I can't because I'm already DJing at a wedding.
You're just a man who's just been sought after left, right and centre, aren't
Which
you?
is kind of annoying because I'd like to have done Halloween. I said next year I'll do Halloween though. Because that'd be great. They're just like, yeah, just play the horror stuff. Okay. And I could play like Goblin and all sorts and just like mash it all up. I could do loads of stuff. It'd be amazing. But anyway, I'm going to play it monthly, and it's quite nice. It's got a little room there, a little area to play, and it's nice because I can play the songs that I want to play, which are, you know, as a DJ, it's me. it's my choice. These are records from my mind. Do you know what I mean? So sit and enjoy rather than, have you got Oasis? No, fucking haven't got Oasis. That's the only one though, so I want to bad. That's it, man. That and doing 31 and 31, well, kind of, because my specific list, I need to get to them, but I've been watching other stuff as well with my eldest, with Jay, different films. So I've actually started another 31 and 31, coincided with mine. So the ones I'm watching, I'm keeping count of, but I'm also just putting a watch next to that list I put together, which I have adjusted a little bit. I added Cujo, and I added something else as well. I took some stuff off, which is like, that's so obscure, I'm changing that. But that's it. You?
Not an awful lot for me. Same as you, 31 and 31. I'm doing my werewolves, and we're going to talk about where we're at the moment, at this midway point in just a moment.
Jealous of that.
It's been fun. I had a little family holiday away a couple of weekends ago in a very big old cottage. It was a barn that's been converted to an Airbnb cottage. Absolutely huge, really, really scenic, very cozy. No spooky vibes, but definitely could have been, an Agatha Christie novel. Could have happened in there, I think. Very good stuff. I have got a little shout out to one of our patrons and listeners and friends, Matthew Godley. He is gifting me with a copy of the original Woman in Black on DVD from 1989.
Very nice.
He did say, he said often as a patron, he does support us obviously, but he does often say if there's any movies that you guys are struggling to get hold of, he's got a very vast library.
Yeah, I did. Sorry, Matt, I kind of forgot that you said that, and that's actually really handy to know. So every once in a while, when Dan and I are both like in messaging each other going, yeah, I can't find it, and you're like, I can't find it, we both need to put our brains together and remember that.
We do. Well, he posted he was watching the original Woman in Black recently, a couple of days back as we record this, and I said, I love this one. He said he prefers it to the remake, and he said, have you seen it? I said, yeah, I've seen it. And he said, do you want a copy of it? So he so kindly is sending that over to me. So thank you so much, Matt, and sending all our love to you, and hope that you're doing well.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you from me for Dan's little present. I like Dan to be happy. So if Dan's happy, then I'm happy.
Well, we might get to watch it together one day. Who knows? You never know. With a little blanket over us. The other person I wanted to very briefly give a quick shout out to is our friend and fellow podcaster. She's appeared on our show, Kate Pollock.
Hello, Kate.
Hello, Kate. You should go check out her show, Eternal Darkness of the Not So Spotless Minds. It's a long one, and it's hard to get out, as they say. She messaged me randomly listening to our last episode where we covered the Final Destination 1 and 2. And she said, it's funny, I'm listening to you guys talking about look out for the signs, this, that, and the other. And she had a funny experience where she went into a shop and she paid for her whatever she'd bought, and the price came to £17.17. So she got her phone to pay with her Apple Pay, and the time was 17:17.
That's weird.
So she paid for £17.17 at 17:17 p.m.
Nice, I like that.
That's spooky, isn't it? But I don't really know what the significance of 17 is, but avoid 17 for a while, Kate, maybe.
Yeah.
If you're going to get on a bus, don't get on the number 17.
I guess that's the moral. But how long is it for 17 days?
Oh, God, now you're really...
You don't do it for? Or 17 weeks? 17 years? 17 centuries?
How old do you think Kate is?
I don't know.
Anyway, I just wanted to mention that because I thought that was funny.
It is numbers, though, wasn't it? It's all these numbers, the same number. So I wonder if it's like, maybe it's a code, 17, 17, 17, 17.
Yeah, like that.
Just go up to all doors, Kate, which have like codes, numerical codes you could press, and just press 17 4 times. Everywhere you go, and eventually you'll find something that opens, I'm sure.
It's like that movie with Nicolas Cage where he discovers all of these numbers that add up to...
oh, yeah. Is that
whatever it is?
They can foresee disasters.
No, that's next. Oh no, that is that one. Yeah,
He's
one I'm
done
thinking
so
of.
fucking many, hasn't he?
I know. I don't know what Nicolas Cage is doing. He doesn't know.
No, he doesn't.
He doesn't know.
I want to put him not in a
What?
sexual sort of way on a night out. I mean, I want to put him in for a movie. That'd be fucking well good,
Oh yeah.
wouldn't it?
Do you want to come around and watch a film with us? Yeah.
I could probably film him sitting there watching a movie with someone and just make that movie, and people would go, "Yeah."
You could film him watching The Unbearable Weight of Massive
That's
Talent.
just way too meta, man. That's even more meta than me. Have you been watching some films?
Yeah, so me and Gav are gonna
I mean, I could do it all now because obviously our Halloween episode, which we can never do like the whole 31 because we recorded the episode before the 31st, so we can release it just before Halloween.
yeah.
So it always kind of sucks that we can't do that.
Well, we're just going to talk loosely around where we're at so far with our 31 list, 31 movies, etc. Gab, what do you want to do? You go first because I've got a couple more than you. So,
Yeah.
do you want to tell us what you've been watching?
There's a couple. I tell you what, I did watch. I watched Cat People, the original Cat People.
Yeah, that's good.
That's
That
quite
one.
good. There's a nice lot of atmosphere there. It's all right, actually. I did also watch White Zombie, which I thought was a bit shit.
Yeah, it's all right. It's a bit slow, isn't it?
Yeah, I did watch a movie on YouTube called Witchcraft from 1964.
Yes, I've seen that. I watched that when we did our witch episode.
That was pretty good.
Yeah, good stuff.
Not
That.
bad. A bit of imagery here and there. Apart from that, of my 31, that is it, which is really bad. But I will get all over it. But I'm also working on the Star Wars film at the moment in all my spare time, so it's quite hard. But I have been watching other stuff. Now, very quickly, I did also watch Frozen, House of the Devil, Bloodbath at the House of Death, and Vacancy.
Nice. Oh, Vacancy, that's a good one.
That was enjoyable to watch again, actually.
Yeah, and I think, you know what, it's good to veer off your list sometimes as well. You know, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I'm still indulging just in horror this month. That's the main thing.
Yeah, that is cool. Very cool. Nice one. I'm doing my werewolf month. I did Hammer only last year. So this year it's werewolf only. So I'm trying to do 2 a night because, I like to get my numbers in. And there might be the odd night I can't do any. So I started off the first night with American Werewolf in London and then American Werewolf in Paris. You and I both love that sequel. We've talked about this. Doesn't really matter. I did work my way painstakingly through the fucking Howling franchise. All 8 of them.
Oh, man. How, like the murder mystery one that I like isn't that great movie either, but I quite like the art concept of that in the castle.
Well, I will say this: the Howling one is a classic. It's good. It's definitely a very good. It's not my favourite, but it is a very good werewolf movie. Yeah. Howling 2 is a lot of fun. Howling 2 feels
I've never
like
seen it. I had a DVD and it was scratched, and I couldn't watch it.
It feels like one of the house movies. It's got a really weird sense of humour about it. Howling 3, which is the Australian one, Ozploitation.
Marsupials.
Yeah, the marsupials. That one is silly and fun as well. The 4th one is awful, really bad.
Is that the Freak Show one?
No, that's the 6th one.
Fucking hell.
The 5th one that's the 4th one. It's called The Original Nightmare, and it's based more on the book.
What happens?
It's the same story as the first one. It's just based more on the book.
Oh.
And they try and tie it into the first 3 movies. It just doesn't work.
Set in Europe?
No.
Oh.
The 5th one though is really good, and that's the rebirth. That's where they all go to the castle in Hungary.
That's the one I like.
Christopher Lee's in it.
Christopher Lee's in that. He's in the second one.
Oh yeah, you're right. He's in the second one. Sorry, yeah, but it's really good. The 5th one, and actually one of my favourite. The 6th one's quite good fun. The Freaks. It's about a carnival freak.
Yeah.
And then there's the Howling New Moon Rising, which came out in '95, and then there's Howling the Reborn in 2011, and anything after number 6 is really awful, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Obviously, I've watched our movies for this episode as well, Halloween 4 and Nightmare on Elm Street, which I'll include, but they're not werewolf movies. I also watched Scooby-Doo, The Reluctant Werewolf, which I try and watch every year. I do love that one.
It's a good one.
And then I started on my black and white movies. Werewolf of London, The Wolfman, Frankenstein meets the Wolfman,
Nice.
She-Wolf of London.
Yeah, I've got the Wolfman box set. I got them last year for last Halloween, actually.
Yeah, and after She-Wolf of London, I'm going to go into Female Werewolf. So that's all I've watched so far. But I'm going to then go into Cursed with Christina Ricci, and then I'm going to do like the Ginger Snaps and a few female-led ones. So I'm really looking forward to cracking on with some more werewolf movies for the end of the month.
There is a few werewolf films in, isn't there?
I've got a list of 49, which I'm going to be watching, but there are more than that. But I'm not doing the Brotherhood of the Wolf, and I'm not doing there's certain ones I'm just not going to do because they're either really bad or I just don't really want to include them. You know, somebody said, are you going to do Wallace and Gromit and the Curse of the Were-Rabbit? But I don't really want.
It's not legit werewolf, is it?
No. And to be honest with you, She-Wolf of London isn't a werewolf movie. They talk about werewolves all the way through it. The killer must be a werewolf, but it turns out it's just a woman who's got schizophrenia. She puts a hood up and goes out killing people with her hood up. Well, that isn't a werewolf, is it?
Not really.
It's just a hoodie. So there we go. But yeah, it's an exciting month. And Gav and I want to thank all of you listeners for keeping the page so busy at this time of year with everybody posting up what they're watching. We've got Laura watching all of her Friday the 13th movies. You know, I've seen people watching some of the classics. I mentioned Matthew with his Woman in Black, and there's just all sorts of random stuff. Your Sarah's posting up stuff left, right and centre. It's just so much fun to see what people are watching at this time of year.
Yeah, it's really nice because it's always nice to have everyone join in. I feel annoyed because I can't keep adding my 31. That's why I just put up a little disclaimer. My list everywhere the other day when I put up a film I was watching because it wasn't even on my list either then. No, it's great. It's our little Christmas.
It is, and it's good fun, and we'll probably very quickly whiz through everything we've watched when we do our Halloween special in a few weeks' time. But yeah, let's leave it there then. So, anything else you wanted to add before we?
I was going to say the new Exorcist film's just come out.
Oh, you wanted to talk about that, didn't you?
Not that I'm much of a fan of the original Exorcist. I think it's a fine film. It's a very well crafted movie, absolutely. And I imagine when it came out, it's really shocking. I'm not. Those sorts of films aren't really my bag, so I don't feel as passionate as some people do. But I totally understand it is a very good horror movie. It's a very well acted, crafted film. But yeah, the new movie came out, and David Gordon Green. Did the Halloween franchise.
I do know what he's been doing.
He's making another. This is original part of 1, 2, and 3, and it cost them $400 million to secure the rights.
Christ! So
they really need this one to do well. But everyone's just like, why are you touching that? Now William Friedkin's died unfortunately recently, but he knew it was getting made though, and he said in his last interview. To the interviewer, Ed, the guy who's made those new Halloween sequels is about to make one to my movie, The Exorcist. That's right, my signature film is about to be extended by the man who made Pineapple Express. I don't want to be around when that happens, but if there's a spirit world and I can come back, I plan to possess David Gordon Green and make his life a living hell.
Jesus Christ.
That's what the Exorcist director William Friedkin said about his film being touched. He hated the sequels.
I didn't realise he was saying that. That's so funny that he said that, especially because he directed The Exorcist. Now he's talking about possessing somebody, and then he actually sadly passed away a couple of months back.
Yeah, but he would have never watched it anyway.
Hilarious.
But that's what because I think this whole time he's been like, no one's going to touch it, and unfortunately he's just about to die and his film was going to be made, so that's gutting, really.
I love the Pineapple Express, but it is hilarious when he puts it like that.
I didn't think it was that funny, actually.
Oh, I really liked it, but I think it's hilarious when he says, that's right, one of my films is about to be remade or extended by the man that did Pineapple Express. That's so funny. What
this dude had done, really, until I read that. Because the Halloween, we both saw the first Halloween in the cinema together, and we were like, yeah, it's pretty decent. I'd have been happy just with that one.
Yeah.
No more. Just that. And why'd you have to make it a free like this one? Why'd you have to make it 3 parts? Oh, I know why. Because you may have had some passion. You're like, David Gordon Green's like, I love the original, and Blumhouse, we love horror. We want to put the passion in there. And they're doing it great. But why do you need 3 parts? Just to put the passion into one movie, put everything in that one film. Why? Oh, because it probably makes money.
Well, neither of us have seen it, but I can say that all I've heard is negative things about it.
Oh yeah. Oh shit. Oh shit.
It's not. It's not in any way scary. You know, I'll watch it when it's available to stream.
Yeah, I won't watch it.
But I'm not going to bother. You know.
But if the producers would be like, yeah, but we have to like have a free pod, try and make our money back. It costs us 400 million to secure rights. Don't secure the rights. Spend that money on original properties. There's so many stories out there.
And the other thing is, where does this end? You know, what's next? Is he going to buy the rights to the American Werewolf franchise and then make another one of those?
Don't say that, because that is a perfect one to go. Because no one's they did do American Werewolf Paris, but that is a good one to actually go to. So don't say that.
Right, well, he doesn't listen to our podcast anymore, so that's fine.
So I don't know.
The funny thing is, there are franchises out there where I feel like we need another one. Like I feel like we need another night, another Friday the
13th. Yeah, the 13th one. So why doesn't Blumhouse do Friday the 13th?
Chuck some money into a big, everybody
be happy
knows
about that. I guaranteed it's probably some fucking rights issue or something. That's probably wasn't been touched or something stupid. But I don't know. It's just a weird one. But yeah, it's been really slated. But I'm not here just to diss something I haven't seen. It's hard to make a movie, and well done for making the fucking film. But like, why?
I must say, when I saw the first trailer, I thought, oh, that looks like it could be quite good, and I like what they're doing with it. And it's two girls that are possessed, and this, that, and the other. But all I'm hearing online, and I don't really want to read any reviews because I prefer to make my own mind up, but I'm seeing nothing but poor reviews of it. Just before we go to our first movie to review today, actually, you've just reminded me, I watched a trailer for another Christmas horror movie coming out by the same people that did Happy Death Day to Me, and then did Freaky, which we both really enjoyed.
I do like Freaky, yeah.
So obviously, Happy Death Day is like the horror version of Groundhog Day. Freaky is the horror version of all those body swap movies from the 80s. Well, now we've got a movie coming out this Christmas called It's a Wonderful Knife. Nice. And it's about a girl, from the trailer, it's about a girl who stops a serial killer who wears this awesome white mask, like a snow angel mask that they look like, and she stops him, but she's really unhappy with her life, and she makes a wish. I wish I'd never been born. And then it's like It's a Wonderful Life. She then sees what would have happened if she had never been born.
Is it Blumhouse?
I'm not sure. It's by the people that did Happy Death Day and Freaky. And so basically, she's going up to her dad, and he's like, I don't know who you are. I've never had a daughter. And then the serial killer never got stopped. So he's going around killing people.
I'm kind of tapping out. Because it's at the moment, Amazon with a Blumhouse film they just thrown out, and it's kind of their Back to the Future horror movie. It's just come on called Totally Killer, which has just dropped about a girl goes back in time
I wondered what that was.
And it's like goes back to the 80s, and it's just like, stop.
Hang on, we've done that already. I watched that movie, Final Girls.
Yeah. Me and Jay talked,
and that was great.
Yeah, that's all right. But it's just taking these concepts from these classic movies and then just going, oh no, horror. But as soon as you said that, I was like, oh, for fuck's sake, why take these concepts? It's so lazy.
Well, I really liked Freaky, and I really liked Happy Death Day and the sequel. So they're going to
have a market, they have an audience. I'm just a fucking grumpy.
And the trailer looked fun. So, and I love a Christmas horror movie. Like, I love it that we're getting so many Christmas horror movies.
It might be right, but I know exactly what's going to be already. We've seen those films already. It's tapping into the teenage market, which I'm not of. I'm not the demographic, basically. I know exactly what that film's going to be like, and it'll be it'd either be a 5.6 out of 10 or 6.4 out of 10 on IMDb.
Okay, you've heard it here first, guys. There we go.
Get off my lawn!
Old man shouts at clouds.
Yeah.
That's the Simpsons reference.
Very well done.
Thank you.
Golf clap.
First one in 10 years. Okay, well, we are going to now have a trailer for Freddy Got Fingered. No, not that one.
Well,
sorry.
That might have been why he's angry.
Oh.
Freddy Krueger Got Fingered.
We are going to launch into our franchise face-off with our first review, which is A Nightmare on Elm Street 4, The Dream Warrior. Not the Road Warrior, The Dream Warrior. So here's a trailer.
Do you know what terror is?
Hello.
Do you live here?
Nobody lives here.
How long has it been since you've been on Elm Street? Welcome to a brand new nightmare. He is the first in fear.
Will you help me? God, can someone help me, please?
Second to none.
Don't let them put you to sleep.
He has no mercy. And no equal.
Now no one sleeps.
Get ready. This August, your wildest dreams will come true.
How sweet, fresh meat.
A Nightmare on Elm Street Part 4. The Dream Master.
Okay, so first up, A Nightmare on Elm Street 4, The Dream Master from 1988.
I'm going to take my top off.
Okay, 1 hour and 38 minutes. Scab likes to always say the running times. Freddy Krueger returns once... Oh, you finished?
Yeah, sorry.
Right.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Continue.
Freddy Krueger returns once again to terrorize the dreams of the remaining Dream Warriors, as well as those of a young woman who may be able to defeat him for good. She doesn't, because there's about another 4 sequels after this, but that's the synopsis. This is directed, and this is the first major film really, directed by Rennie Harlin.
How does Rennie Harlin go from this to Die Hard 2? I don't understand.
And then Cliffhanger.
My brain does not compute. I straight off the bat here, I wasn't totally into this film. Sorry, spoiler. Where I do love Die Hard 2, and recently become quite fond of Cliffhanger.
Yeah, it's good. He also did The Long Kiss Goodnight, which is great. Deep Blue Sea, which I'm a fan of. Cutthroat Island. Exorcist: The Beginning, one of the 2 versions that came out. Some controversy around that. And he's done a bunch of other movies, one of the most recent of which I've watched, which is a Jackie Chan movie, Skip Trace, with him and Johnny Knoxville, which is not great.
Jackie Chan, Johnny Knoxville.
It's not great.
Who thought that's a great pairing?
I think they'd seen Jackie Chan with Owen Wilson and Chris Tucker and thought, well, Jackie Chan's always good if you pair him up with someone who's... But it just wasn't...
No.
And obviously, Jackie Chan does his own stunts. Johnny Knoxville does his own stunts, I guess, but...
Yeah, that's the thing. They're both the same sort of shtick, not really totally, but in a big ballpark of entertainers. They are both kind of that physical slapstick. Maybe that was the reason, but then it's like, how does that work? Johnny Knoxville's humour is just completely way off.
Yeah.
And Jackie Chan's humour is going to be slightly more Eastern orientated in a way. Obviously, he knows the American market very well because he's worked in America for many years. But, like, do you know what I mean? His origins of where his humour came from as a child is going to be different. So that's a weird pairing, man. What happens? Is there like some stunt shit going on, or?
Yeah, it's to do with... I think there's quite a few scenes where they're handcuffed together for ages. I can't really remember it now. It's to do with...
He did this with Chris Tucker, didn't he?
Yeah, he did that as well. It's to do with human trafficking, I think, but it's just not even worth talking about. Because I love Jackie Chan, and I'll always defend him, but it wasn't one of his finest movies. But
No. But back to this film.
So yeah, this came out in 1988. So the original Nightmare on Elm Street came out in 1984. So by 4 years' time, we've already got the 4th movie. So they are banging these out, aren't they?
Yeah, well, they knew what was going on here, and it's in quick succession, though. They do go the humour route with Freddy, and he becomes more and more slapstick and stuff, and more commercial, like Freddy lunchboxes, Freddy blah, 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 blah.
Freddy rap songs.
They kind of knew what they were doing. It was Shay, wasn't it? Lin Shay's brother. What's he called? Thingamajiggy. Because the house that Freddy built, they always class it as the studio. What's the studio, for God's sake? Tell me the studio.
New Line Cinema.
New Line Cinema. And
Bob Shay.
That's it. And another thing with this film, though, this is my own personal opinion, just coming at it, because I couldn't remember this at all whatsoever. I remembered maybe one little bit in it, so I was like, oh, I have seen it. It feels like it's more like an effects artist showcase.
Yeah, so I agree with you in some ways. I think the Freddy movies got progressively more and more like that, because I certainly, watching these at a younger age, always went to these because you'd hear about, oh, the new Freddy, this happens and that happens. So this one, Alice watched this one with me. She actually really enjoyed it. She was really drawn into it and said it was really stupid, but also she found some of it quite scary. But then she's not like a seasoned horror movie fan. But you're right.
Interesting take though. It's good for her when she does, for us to know what her thoughts are, not as a seasoned horror veteran like all of us people.
Yeah, she dips in and out. You know, she watched, I think I said she watched The Deep House, and she watched Orphan 2 with me. So she dips in and out if it's on and it catches her. Otherwise, she's happy to carry on just drawing or doing her painting or whatever she's doing in the same room. But yeah, she enjoyed this. I really like this. It's not the best Freddy movie. I think 1 is definitely the scariest. I really like 2. I really like 3. I think 3 is, for me, is the peak. This drops down from 3 a little bit. I don't really like the 5th one, you know, and there's a 1 or 2 towards the end that are quite good fun, but I still find a lot of enjoyment in this one. I really like the tie into the one before it, you know, where we're bringing in those characters, and then spoiler alert, we're killing off a lot of those characters that survived the movie before this. And at the end of the day, a dog pisses fire out of its dick. So there's always that.
There is always that.
But yeah, I know what you mean though. Going back to what you were saying, it's just it is a showcase. Every 20 minutes, what practical effects can we do some crazy shit with? But I'm here for that. I quite like that.
Well, the thing was, though, this is around the time when like the effects artists are at their peak of being rock and roll stars.
Yeah.
They were like just like worshipped. It was like a certain thing, and they're all against each other, and it's all of them trying to up the next person, who could do the next thing, and apparently there's like a book, I can't remember what it's called, out there, which tells all, and it says all the crazy coke fueled stories of them doing effects and just women and just craziness, you know, because it was really like rock and roll. So it does feel like that, and like almost story is like second. Like, oh, better do a story. Yeah,
and I can disagree with what you're saying, to be honest with you. I agree with that. You're not really here for the story by this point. You're here for the deaths, the effects. Which
is fine, because at the time, we were at the peak, we were like coming up to the end of the 80s, but we've gone through like mid 80s, where it's like the height of like the slashers, and then it going to like, how's Jason going to kill the person, how's Freddy going to kill a person, and that's what the kids talked about in the playground, you know. So yeah, that was what got people to go to watch the films. So that's kind of what it feels like for now in 2023 watching this film for myself.
Yeah, and I think out of the 3 main franchises, you know, Freddy, Jason and Michael, you know, both you and I think that Jason is the better franchise, but Freddy always had the more elaborate and crazy effects. The effects, I think, always will be won. The award for best effects will always be won by the Freddy movies, because he comes in your dreams. He can turn anything into anything, because it's all dreams, and it's all very surreal and psychedelic. Whatever he wants to, he can make real. Whereas in Jason, there's only so many limbs and heads and ways to kill people, you know. And Michael really only uses a knife, really, for the most part. So I think that's one thing that always drew me as a kid, and I think most of us listeners and anybody who likes horror is, one thing you can say about the Freddy movies is you're going to get some crazy, and they're always practical, really, for the most part, effects. And I do that is probably the standout in this movie, is the effects, really.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what I'm going to do, because I'm just looking at the effects department here, and it's big, it's large, and there's a lot of names. A lot of names stick out. Howard Berger, Screaming Mad George, Steve Johnson, Chris Yeager, Kevin Yeager. Some of those people are like fairly big names, and it's funny though, you know. So we're doing another film of the same subgenre of horror at its peak on this show later on, which is Halloween 4. So I'm going to check out the effects department there and just see, like, just visually, if it's smaller, I bet it is. You know,
And I think the reason they probably would have had various people working on this movie is you would have had someone who works exclusively on Robert Englund's makeup. Then you would have had probably almost a different team for almost every death, because one of the deaths involves like a giant bug.
Yeah.
You know, so there's lots of different ways that people die in this. And then even like, oh my god, say what you will about this movie, the end scene where all the faces appear on his torso and all that kind of stuff, it just looks crazy and amazing. And that would probably another team on their own. So like when you go and watch a Marvel movie or something these days, and the effects team at the end is like thousands of people.
I've literally just found again special effects by. So I was actually only looking at the makeup department. What am I doing?
Wow.
Sorry, special effects by. Yeah, that's got, I would say, 30 maybe names.
So a big budget
on the
this would have had.
payroll. Yeah, totally. That's crazy, and only like 5 visual effects credits. How that has changed.
Yes, totally. It's the other way around now, isn't it?
Yeah, and tons of stunts and stuff. But yeah, that's interesting, so definitely going to check out. But look, Halloween 4, though, later on, Michael Myers at one point rips a chunk of flesh and meat out of a policeman's neck at one stage, and it was just brutal. It was very like 70s zombies type.
Yeah.
That was like, whoa, that was pretty full on. Wasn't expecting. But anyway, back to this one. Should we do it?
Yeah, let's do it.
Go for it.
So following on directly from Dream Warriors, where the kids in the mental institution all club together in their dreams and defeat Freddy. Well, we follow on with this movie.
Starts
so
with
we'll
a
get
terrible song.
Which song? Oh, that 80s song about the nightmare.
Ooh, that's dated.
But there was a lot of good songs in this, other than that one.
Yeah.
I really like the Fat Boys doing their Freddy rap over the end credits.
I didn't notice.
Oh right, yeah. There's a music video.
I've seen that.
Yeah.
That's the stage where we are with Freddy. Wouldn't it be funny if it's the other way around? It's Michael Myers with the Fat Boys.
Yeah, but it would be awful because he wouldn't say anything.
That's the difference, because Freddy's got a voice. That's why it had to always be Robert Englund.
Freddie had albums. He had music albums available, vinyl, CD.
Just insane, isn't it?
Yeah, like you said, he was on lunchboxes. Yeah, he was on everything. There was probably a breakfast cereal. There was everything, Yeah. And there was kids buying all this shit that shouldn't have been. But again, it's the 80s,
I kind of watched them because you just did, because you go to the video shop and grab a video and it'd be like, oh, you've seen that man? You just have to watch it because everyone else watched it, regardless if you want to or not. But you had a limitation of what horror was out there. There wasn't much. So you just get whatever you could. Like, give it to me like a fucking fix. On the street off your fucking junkie, your fucking drug dealing horror dealer. Yeah, so I don't know. I watched it in that, but watching it this time now, I haven't seen it since then. I don't know. Didn't hold up for myself. But you like it, didn't you? There's some kung fu in it, for one thing.
There is some kung fu.
So I thought, I know what Dan likes. There's kung fu in it.
I said that to Alice. I said, fucking hell, any movie in the 80s, they just had to get karate and kung fu into it. Nunchucks, all that kind of stuff.
There was a name in the credits. Danny Nasal. Just popped in my head there.
Sounds like me if I'm doing it of cocaine.
And someone called Tuesday Night, and their surname was Knight.
Yeah, she's our main actress.
Oh, Tuesday. Wow. Okay, so it's an actress type thing. Okay.
Yeah. Very cool name, I think. Yeah. I like that. So we do start with that song, but
it's a bit porn, but yeah.
Tuesday Night. What are you doing Tuesday night?
It's like Craig David song, isn't it?
I met a girl on Monday, took her for a drink on Tuesday night.
Yeah.
So we start off with our usual 1-2 Freddy's Coming For You type music playing in the background after the awful song you mentioned, which is a very 80s pop song. And we see a little girl drawing on the ground with chalk, and she's drawing a Freddy's house on Elm Street.
We do. I don't think, well, I suppose some people wouldn't think it. You do kind of realise fairly soon we're in a dream, because it just feels a little wishy-washy with
it's all
way
very
it's been filmed. I don't think that's like me going, oh, I know, because they make films. It's not that at all. It's just like, you know, I think most people would realise we're in the dream.
And Kristen, played by Tuesday Night, our main...
Sorry, again, one more thing with this film. I did think it felt like a part 2 of like a 2-part TV movie or something. The way it jumps straight in there, it bungs us through a load of characters right at the beginning, which there's a load of them. But it was so hard to remember who was who and what's what because there's so many of them all at once, like really quickly. It felt like it's a continuation and we've already been introduced in part 1. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but I do think if you go and watch any movie like this from the 80s, there's 12 characters. You only remember 3 of their names because they're all going to get killed off over the next 90 minutes.
It just felt forced.
Fair enough. But we meet Kristen. She's in this dream that we're talking about. And she suddenly, you're right, we're in the dream because suddenly it's nighttime and she's going into Freddy's house. It's raining. She hears the 1, 2, Freddy's coming for you. She goes into the very scary house. She gets locked in. The window explodes and she wakes up. She doesn't wake up. She calls her friend, first of all. She sort of... help me to her
kid
buddy.
From last time, she shouts, and I was like, King K, and I was like, is that a kid from last time? And it was, yeah. And then she pulls another one in, and they're both like, bitch, why have you pulled us into the dream again?
Joey was the other one. I think Joey was the one doing magic tricks in the last one, who became a wizard, and Kincaid is the one who was really strong in his dreams.
That's right. What would we do, me and you, if we just pulled into a dream, be like, Freddy, like, where are we? Who are you? Like, I've pulled you in to help me. Why? Why have you pulled in? Like, where are we? Freddy's drawing. Freddy's coming. Great. That's fucking brilliant. What would we do, Dan? Would we team up?
We would team up and I'd use my kickboxing skills.
Do you think we'd have a double thing where we'd link arms and I'd bend over and you'd fly over my back kicking them?
Wow, I'm glad there was more to that.
Like Golden Axe or something.
Yeah, something like that.
Fucking A.
Special move. The Beard Brothers special move.
I like it. We both tug each other's beards and then something happens.
Well, you're right. Kincaid and Joey are very annoyed that they've been dragged into Kristen's dream.
Damn straight.
And they say, what are we doing here? She says, he's back. Freddy's here. They're like, no. We killed him in the last film, remember? You're just stupid.
That's why it feels so, but I guess it is a continuation of a series of films, so I suppose it does make sense. But do you know what I mean? It feels so like, oh, you need to be like straight in that last movie watching it, because I was just like, okay. I did recognise it as characters from before that.
And this would have been really fresh to audiences because they would have only watched part 3 a year ago.
And they would have been at the height of their VHS, rewatching them over and over. They probably watched it that day before they went to cinema to watch the next one.
Kincaid's dog bites Kristen on the arm, and then everybody wakes up, and Kristen's got a bite mark on her arm. So,
yeah.
We for those who haven't remembered, we're reminded that these kids can link up in their dreams, and they've got powers when they're in their dreams. They're
like
stronger.
A game, isn't it?
Yeah, they're stronger, they're better, they're faster, they're harder in their dreams.
What, yeah, fucking Daft Punk song.
So in the morning, Kristen calls round for Alice. Now in the last episode, there was a Tim and a Nora in one of the films.
Oh, you like that, didn't you? Because that's your family-in-laws.
And in this episode, there's Alice and her boyfriend Dan, which is funny to me.
That's weird.
Yeah, very strange.
Well, most movies has a Sarah. Actually, I'm going to quickly check. I bet there's not a Sarah in here now.
I don't think there is a Sarah in this one.
Damn, I'm wrong.
So, yes, Kristen calls round for Alice on the way to school. Alice has a brother called Rick. And they've got a dad who is a drunk. And they have a dead mum, sadly. So they're dealing with...
Not in the house.
Not in the house. That would be strange.
Sit there at breakfast.
But Dad works a lot and drinks a lot. And we get to find out more about this.
Dad works hard. He parties hard.
He does. They get to school and we get to meet a bunch of... It doesn't really matter what their names are. Teenagers.
I love, though, a good movie which we have, especially in 88. Perfect. Pretty much, it's like a good wine or something. Not like drink anymore. A good non-alcoholic wine, maybe. You see skaters. Skaters olling off a curb. I love it.
Yep.
Just there's like Scream. As soon as you scream the first one, being skaters olling off curbs. It's just like the smallest. It's always just an ollie. You don't have to have much. Maybe a kickflip, but just that, and it's always just sets for me the perfect scene of the 80s quintessential slasher film school setting.
And these kids, they could be more 80s if they tried. Some of their hairstyles are fantastic.
One of them reminds me of Casper from Kids.
I don't know what that is.
The movie Kids, Larry Clark film.
Oh, yeah,
Kid
of course.
Casper,
Oh,
black
he does a
spiky
bit.
hair. It looks like him too.
I used to have my hair spiked up like that, you see. I think that guy, Rick, is trying to be Christian Slater so hard.
Yeah, I guess Slater would have been
Got like the long coat on, the spiky hair.
No, that's what he's going for.
He was an idol of mine as well. I had about 3 Christian Slater posters up on my wall. I was just like, man, I've got to be this cool one day.
See, I have curly hair. You can't be cool with curly hair. You could be like Simon and Garfunkel or something. You just can't be fucking cool.
Phil Spector?
Oh, look, see? It just doesn't work. Every time I'm trying to someone called Brian May, fuck off.
Well, he's pretty cool. Fucking hell, he plays good guitar.
He's not cool. Can play
He's
guitar.
not cool.
Come on. The style of someone who's got talent, you know. Sorry, if I'm dissing Queen fans or anything. I like Queen, you know.
Well, these kids' hair and hairstyles and clothes are awesome. They're everything you would expect from 1988. Well, probably 87 when this was made. And they all head on into the school, and Kincaid and Joey come up to Kirsten at the lockers and say, look, don't pull us into your dreams anymore.
Yeah, fuck off, you stupid twat.
I was having a wank.
Not even that, just don't pull me into the dream. Like,
if you're going to pull me into your dream, pull me off.
I've got an exam, and that does have to be sexual every time, Dan. I've got an exam in the morning. I don't want to be fighting Freddy Krueger.
I've got an exam tomorrow.
Sorry I'm late, teacher.
I was fighting a dead paedophile that had been burnt by all our parents.
It's not like the dog bit my homework, is it?
No.
It really isn't.
Why are you late today, Kincaid?
I'm going to say, if it's English and creative writing, I'm going to say that the teacher gives them a pass. Oh, that's a pretty good statement. All right.
I'll tell you why I was late. Because my dog pissed fire and I fought Freddy Krueger, okay?
Who's Freddy Krueger? Okay. Then go through like a dead set on fire paedophile. It's just like it's a whole thing. Just throwing paedophile in there is a whole thing. It's like a thing you've got to get into. You can't just throw paedophile around anywhere.
Well, we cut to a karate montage because this is an 80s movie.
I've literally wrote Karate Guy montage, but yes.
That's great. So Rick, who is Alice's brother...
Not Kung Fu because it's 88, it's karate.
Yeah, he's got the bandana on and he's practicing all the moves.
This would have been when I was actually doing karate because I would have been 11. I would have been doing karate literally in England while they're probably filming this.
Yeah, and he's got a little dojo set up in his garage and he's doing all the moves. And
the dude who taught me is still teaching. What the shit?
Yeah, well, some of these karate masters live to like 90,
That's
don't
what
they?
I was thinking. I was thinking like some Kill Bill shit going on.
So yeah, he's doing his karate and he's got nunchucks as well. So he starts using the nunchucks a bit. And then their dad gets home.
It's already, I was just like, Dan likes this movie for this reason.
And then drunken old dad gets home and there's some issues there.
They've got a dog called Jason.
Yes. Well, no, Kincaid's got a dog called Jason, which I find hilarious. So dad's basically annoyed that Alice his daughter has made him lovely dinner, and he says, "What's this slop? What am I supposed to do? I'm not a rabbit. This is just vegetables." And she keeps having these dreams that she's going to kill him or something, like these little daydreams, but obviously she doesn't act out on it. So her and her brother are dealing with this drunken dad, and their mum's no longer with them anymore. So these are all the issues that are set up for our main star. So we cut to Kincaid, and he is going to have a little sleep now. He wakes up, and he's in the boot of a car, in the trunk of a car.
Yep.
Kicks the trunk open and he realizes he's in an old scrap metal yard, or like a dead car graveyard, if you will. Hundreds of cars piled up, and he thinks, "Oh no, I'm in a dream, damn it." But luckily his dog Jason's there, as you said. So there's obviously, they all must have called the dog Jason because of Jason Voorhees, I'm guessing.
But yeah, it's a weird thing. Is it a diss though?
Maybe.
It's not exactly it's a big high up thing there. It's called the dog Jason. It's like, I love dogs and I praise dogs, but
I praise dogs.
I do. I've got dog statues I worship. I've got my dog dungeon that I worship. Oh,
Wow.
the big dog of worship. Thing.
Okay, doggy style. Well, he jumps out of the car.
Are you literally just the rest of the podcast just going to say, just finish off with bent over and then just carry on?
Boobs.
What?
So he follows his dog into the sort of centre of the scrapyard, and his dog starts scratching at the floor, and he thinks, well, what's this? Then the dog, as I've mentioned several times, pisses fire out of its cock onto the floor, and the floor cracks open, and there's a skeleton in there. And then there's really good effects here as all the flesh starts to reanimate and grow back over the bones. And who is it? It's Freddy Krueger. Of course it's Freddy Krueger, and he's back.
Freddy Krueger, indeed.
And you think, oh, okay, well, we're going to be in for a good fight between Freddy and Kincaid now, aren't we?
There's a really nice shot, though, where a silhouette of Freddy just standing there, his first introduction, with just his hands, claws out, with the light behind him at slight distance. It's really
Indiana Jones moment, I call that.
Oh, okay. It's quite nice.
Because he puts the hat on.
And it's him going, you shouldn't have buried me.
Yeah.
It's quite...
He says, you should have buried me. I ain't dead.
It's quite cool.
And he puts the hat on.
That was quite nice. I quite like that. This one thing with this film, at first, it does a little bit later on, right to the end, but it doesn't have enough of Freddy. As soon as Robert Englund's on the screen, it brings something more to it. You're like, oh, nice, but there's not enough of it. His screen time must be really small, like all in all.
Yeah, he's probably in it for like 10 minutes, if that.
It's not much, and it's a shame because he brings something a lot more. As soon as he's on, you're like, oh, nice. And then it's like, oh, he's gone again.
Kincaid still got his super duper dream strength, pushes the car onto Freddy, but Freddy survives, and that's really all the fight we get, because then he just sticks his whole arm through Kincaid's stomach, and he says, tell your friends I'm back. And Kincaid says, he screams up into the sky, Kristen, Freddy's back, Freddy's back. And it echoes around, and that's the end of our buddy Kincaid. We then cut to Joey, who is the other surviving Dream Warrior from the last movie. Joey is watching MTV. He's having a great 80s old time, isn't he? On his waterbed. Watching MTV, reading a magazine, just really loving life. And then he looks up at the poster of the hot model on the wall, and she's not on the wall anymore. She's inside the waterbed.
It's a bit weird, but yes.
Great 80s boobs. And she pushes up underneath, because she's literally inside the waterbed, so she's like, it's like a swimming pool in there, and she grabs him, and he thinks, this is great, I'll get in with her, but it's not a woman, is it, Gav?
But he just didn't really think it through really properly, did he? Like, if he realised that there's a woman trapped inside his waterbed, is about to drown anyway, and he's just going to have a corpse. All of a sudden, like, he's going to have to explain to the cops how he's got a corpse in his water mattress. Or don't bother, and she'll just slowly rot away, or get really inflated.
Don't bother. Did you say don't bother?
Or just don't bother and put a duvet over it, and just, it's not going to smell because in the water, like, secure.
But what happens if your mum comes in the room to clean your room or change your bed in?
She is going to have a heart attack, and you're gonna get the house.
Fucking hell! You've thought this through.
It's a plan in motion.
Oh shit!
It's not a plan in motion. I don't.
The woman,
my parents.
the sexy naked,
do that.
The sexy naked woman turns out to be Freddy Krueger, and the last thing he says to Joey is, "How's this for a wet dream?"
But he would know it's Freddy if he thought about it more, is what I'm saying. It's a just long-winded way of me saying that.
Well, he lived through the last film.
He must know
that these kind of weird shit can go on.
He must know. He might at some point go, you know what, with wisdom in life, I've learnt stuff, and I tell you what, this could be something to do with one of those traumatic events I've had fairly recently in my life. Oh yeah, it was that paedophile killer came back in my dreams to kill me, but we got past it. This could be something to do with that again. It's the fact that he doesn't realise that, and he just goes, "All right, I'll get inside a waterbed with
Hang on a
with
minute.
topless woman."
Hang on a minute. If you're a 15-year-old boy and a naked woman shows
I
up in
was
the
literally
room,
about to say, "Hang on here." As soon as
You're
he
gonna
as soon as
just
he sees
think-
that, he's like, "Sex."
your mind switches off.
It's literally like sex. I need
All
to
the
have
blood
sex.
rushes
Literally,
away from your brain.
His dick's literally going, "Here we go." And you're like, "Oh," being pulled forward, thrusted forward.
Yeah. Well, back to Alice
to
and
mum.
Kristen.
Cut to mum in the morning.
Yeah, well, let's talk about that first of all. She comes in. She's going, Joey, you're going to be late for school.
And finds him in the waterbed. So now she's going to have to be like, what do? Do I just put sheets over it and tell the husband he left?
But also, she's got to explain to the police how her son got into the waterbed.
I know,
and
it's
sealed
back
himself
into what I
up.
was saying earlier. Yeah, I know, it's the whole thing now.
It's like the Eliza Lamb thing.
It is. Or she just goes, just walks out.
Nothing to
Backs
do with me.
away like Homer into the hedge.
Must be a new craze the kids are all doing.
Yeah, I'm not doing this.
Like what Michael Hutchins used to do, but in a waterbed instead. So we cut back to Rick and Alice discussing their dad and their dead mum, and he says, look, you got to stand up for yourself a bit more. Let me show you some of my karate moves.
Well, to impress women in the 80s, there's certain things you could do. Karate moves is one of them.
But this is his sister. He's not trying to impress her. He's trying to give her, he's trying to show her
self-defense.
Yeah, this is it. And I guess against their dad. So if their dad ever really tries anything,
It
he
is
can just...
the 80s. It could be sister, to be fair.
Sister. Don't know where I'm going with that.
I don't know either. A romantic song about your sister.
Alice and Kirsten talk about they've both been having bad dreams, and we're going to find out basically that Kirsten, our new final girl, she's been studying something called the Dream Warrior. So just on a side note for our listeners, she's been studying this whole thing where the Dream Warrior is a thing you can do where in your dream you take control of the dream. Because a lot of the time, 99% of the time, we aren't in control of what the fuck we're dreaming about. But the Dream Warrior can take control of their dream and make it their own story, their own adventure, their own thing. So she's been studying this. So this is what's going to come into play later on in this movie. But yeah, these two are discussing that they've both been having bad dreams. Could Freddy be on the rise? Oh, we don't know. Ooh. Then they hear there's no sign of Joey and there's no sign of Kincaid. They've got empty desks at school.
Do you reckon it could be a Nightmare on Elm Street 69, the wet dream?
Fucking hell. Freddy got fingered.
One of my favourite things in this film comes up soon, and it's actually Robert Englund as a nurse, a female nurse.
I love that moment.
It's pretty much my favourite part of the film.
Yeah, so she walks into class and their desks are empty, Kincaid and Joey, and she knows straight away there's something up here. She screams. She passes out. She's in Freddy's house, and she manages to sort of get out of that and wake up, but she's in the school office, isn't she? And like you said, the nurse is there, quite a masculine nurse. And it's Robert Englund.
Looks a little bit like Deirdre of Coronation Street.
Yeah, for those UK listeners. Yeah, so it's Freddy, and he does eventually turn into Freddy and try and get her.
Imagine if you sneak it as a sneaky, like the rare Coronation Street episode was Robert Englund as Deirdre. You just didn't notice.
That'd be weird, wouldn't it?
It would be a weird one.
Now, a character called Dan just starts tagging along with the gang.
Fucking Dan. Fuck off.
Now, Dan is the dreamboat, apparently, that all the girls are after. And for no reason at all, he actually decides he quite likes Kirsten, even though she's, like, supposed to be this sort of pretty bland-looking girl who turns out to look like a badass at the end. It's the usual thing we've seen. But he takes a liking to her. He feels sorry for her that her friends are all dead, you know. So he starts tagging along. So we've now got this core gang of 4 main people, who is Rick, Dan, Kirsten and Alice, and they go to Freddy's house, and Dan just buys into all this. He's like, oh right, okay, great, so you guys can go into each other's dreams. Okay, cool, right, great stuff. Let's see what we can do. And Kirsten gets home and says to her mum, I think Freddy's back. And she's like, you are very stressed. Two of your friends have died in the same day. I think you need to have a little drink. Just drink this squash, orange squash. But she's put sleeping pills in it, Gav.
Bitch.
She says, what have you done to me? She's like, I thought you needed to sleep, so I've just dosed you up on loads of sleeping pills.
But to be fair, she's being parental. She's like, you do need to sleep. This would help you. But you probably should say, like, you need to go to sleep. Oh, I can't sleep. Oh, have some sleeping pills. Or do you want to take some sleeping pills because it'll help you sleep? Not just drink it and go like, well, I've just drugged you. I've just roofied you.
I love this now because as Kirsten's about to pass out, she turns around to her mum and she says, I hope you're happy because you've just murdered me. And sort of passes out thinking, well, I'm going to have to go to sleep now.
It's such a teenager thing to say, though, to be fair.
You've just murdered me.
Yeah, oh, fuck off.
You've just murdered me.
I hear all sorts.
Well, she falls asleep and suddenly she's on the beach.
I like Freddy's claws are thin like a shark going through the water. It's probably my second favourite thing in the film.
Dun, 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 dun. And Freddy's on the beach with his shades on, being all cool. Not a lot really happens on the beach other than that. He just sort of shows up and then she wakes up, really. It's just another excuse to get Freddy in a location you've never seen him in before, on a beach.
Different, like, basically a coke-fueled idea. What can we do? Oh, let's just have it like Jaws. Yeah, that'd be great. It'd be hilarious.
I mean, he does bury her in the sand, but she does manage to break out, and she's on the ceiling in the house. So an amazing set here. They would have had to build the whole thing upside down. But going back to that very quickly, the beach, I suspect, you're right, probably was either coke fueled or they thought this will make some great publicity shots, because I've seen loads of pictures of Freddy, or Robert Englund as Freddy, on the beach with girls in bikinis and he's got shades on, and they just thought, if we get him on the beach, we probably should film something while we're here as well. Yeah, okay. Or the other way around, let's film something on the beach so we can take a load of publicity shots.
One shot would be the Freddy postcard, Greetings from Hell.
Love it.
Yeah, it's alright. It's kind of comical. But story-wise, I'm just like, at this point, whatever.
Well, Freddy reveals his plans for her now in this dream, so she heads to the basement. Of course she does. That's where you're going to go if you're in Freddy's house. And he says, basically, because you can pull people into the dreams, I want you to bring me fresh souls. More children, please. Bring me more food. Because as we know, Freddy feeds on children's fears and then kills them in their sleep. So she now knows the whole plan. She wakes up, and her and Rick go over to Kirsten's house and find that she's dead. She's dead. No more.
No.
So Rick and Alice, they are crying about her. They're mourning her. And Alice says, I think I should probably tell you more about the Freddy dream. So at this point, Rick is sort of having to come to terms with the fact that this is probably actually happening. He then gets Dan to really fully believe it as well. And we've got a little gang now getting together, ready to take on Freddy, haven't we?
Yeah, totally. It does feel like most of the Freddy movies are the same, but you do obviously have formulas. Friday the 13th is the same, but it feels like, a group of them, they make a plan. Oh, we're gonna, eventually we've got to stay awake, and then eventually, we'll go to sleep, and we'll put them in, and we all get together, and yeah.
They've also got a friend called Sheila with glasses.
Sheila,
and she's got asthma, and that will become relevant in a moment as to why I've said that. And they walk into class, and they all start nodding off in class. And Sheila starts having a nightmare about her paperwork coming to life and sort of speaking to her in writing. And all of a sudden, Freddy is stood at the teacher's desk.
Do you want to suck face?
Yeah.
And kisses her.
And he turns her inside out pretty much, doesn't he? He deflates her.
Yeah. The kid who did the karate wakes up in a dojo.
Yeah.
I was like, Dan likes it for this reason, and he got like Freddy voiceover sensei giving like words of wisdom, and it's bloody Freddy Krueger. And
he's invisible, so Rick is fighting an invisible karate assassin.
It's almost like Freddy's like the best sensei in the world, could teach him how to fight invisible.
Yeah. Well, we should mention that he falls asleep on the toilet.
Yeah, he doesn't know. Yeah, he's just going for shit.
And then
falls asleep.
And then suddenly loads of cheerleaders come in.
What, when he's in the bathroom?
Yeah, but it's all part of his dream.
Oh, yeah, like, God damn, they're going to smell my shit.
Because then the toilet cubicle turns into an elevator, takes him down to the karate dojo.
He's just like, what were those mushrooms I took earlier?
I've gone from having a shit to loads of cheerleaders.
Gone to an elevator, which I didn't know. What is that? Oh, there's that Only Fools and Horses episode. No. There's a really good One Foot in the Grave episode where Victor Meldrew goes to a Chinese place and he goes to the bathroom. It's like a restaurant. He goes to the bathroom, a special loo, and does the thing. He's sitting there and all of a sudden the toilet goes down, and downstairs it's like a brothel.
Oh.
And he's like, oh, and there's breasts in it. It's the only episode of One Foot in the Grave with breasts in. It's crazy.
Very strange.
Carry on.
So yeah, he's fighting Invisible Freddy.
Yeah.
And he manages to start kicking Freddy's ass. But Freddy's glove has got a mind of its own. He kicks the glove off, and then the glove fires at Rick and kills him and stabs him. So we're at the funeral now. So they're dropping like flies. And in fact, one of them says, we're dropping like fucking flies at the moment.
That's why I think there's probably so many introduced, because they're like, right, we're just going to have so many effects people just making so many kills. We need them going dead, 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 dead. You know.
Yeah.
That's probably why there's so many effects teams, because it's like there's a time we've got to get this film made. If we're burning and chucking them out every year, so you need to like have enough people working on the kills. They want to see the kills go. Like, fucking okay, just come up with some kills. Okay, let's do some lines of coke and come up with some kills. You know.
So at this point now, at the funeral, Rick pops out of his coffin briefly, but it's all part of a dream. And he basically says to Alice, like, you're going to have to kill him. So it's now down to Alice and Dan. But also, their buddy Debbie, who's barely been in it, decides, oh, I'll come and join in. Now, Debbie likes to work out.
Debbie does, Dan.
And we're going to get lots of shots of Debbie working out soon. Basically, like, she's another stereotype. She's the gym bunny, as we would call her now.
Yeah.
And Debbie gives her studded bracelet to Alice and says, keep this, and I'll always be with you to look after you.
Have you ever had a studded bracelet?
No, I've not. Have you?
Nah. Collar?
Studded collar, yeah.
Have you? What, neck one?
No.
I'd love to see that.
Fucking hell.
On Punk Dan, how you doing?
No, I think the most punk thing I ever did was wear a Guns N' Roses necklace for about 3 weeks when I was about 12.
Badass.
Yeah, I thought I was.
Badass. No one messed. Everyone stepped off the pavement when you were coming down the road.
So we should mention now at this point that Alice is now starting to collect things from her dead friends. Not, in a weird way, but her buddy, Sheila, gave her a gadget.
Pants.
No. Her buddy Sheila gave her this gadget, and I still, for the life of me, don't have a fucking clue what this gadget is. It looks like a cross between a taser and a flashlight.
Don't know. She's got nunchucks, though.
She's got nunchucks. She's got the bandana.
Dan likes it because of nunchucks again.
She's got the bandana from her brother who's dead. She's got a studded bracelet. So she's collecting all these things, and she's realised she can harness what it's going to transpire is she's going to be able to harness the power of all of her dead friends because their souls are in the dream world. So when she's in there, she can harness their powers, and combined, like the Power Rangers, combined, she'll be able to hopefully defeat Freddy. So that's where this plot is going. Her drunken dad says, I don't want you to go out tonight. And that's because he knows what's going on, because he's one of the parents who tracked down Fred Krueger.
They always are.
And, well, everybody who lives in this fucking neighbourhood. Is it Springfield they live in?
I don't know.
I think it's Elm Street and Springfield, I think. But all the parents there, it must have been about 50 parents that got together and burnt this guy alive.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we cut to Debbie, the part-time friend, working out.
Another favourite thing here is the Sinead O'Connor song that comes on, which I really like.
Yeah, it's Sinead O'Connor featuring, is it Moni Love? because she raps, gotta touch me, gotta put your hands on me.
Oh, I don't know. I don't remember that bit.
It's a great. I didn't notice Sinead O'Connor until the end credits.
Yeah, I like the version that doesn't have that, but yeah.
All the versions have got that in it.
Yeah, no, I've got a version on Spotify. It doesn't.
Oh, okay. Well, Sinead O'Connor featuring a female rapper, and it's really good.
Yeah.
It's good. It's a good song. But yeah, every time they cut to Debbie working out, they've got this sexy song on, which is sort of all about putting your hands on me. I want to feel you touching me. Sung by Sinead O'Connor and a rapper, and she's working out. She's pumping iron and having a good old time. So in the meantime, before because inevitably we know she's going to die in this scene. That's the only reason they've got her in a leotard working out, is because Freddy's going to come along and kill her at some point. That she goes to our main hero Alice sneaks out of the house and goes to the cinema. And she's watching a film on her own in the cinema, and everything on the movie starts turning into like an apocalypse.
I was quite impressed by the drinking the popcorn flying out of their stuff being sucked into the screen. That was really cool. And then when she actually went flying into the screen and dropped into in black and white into it, it's done really nicely.
Yeah. There's a lot of almost too many ideas, isn't there, in this? Because we're rattling through these scenes and they're all so random and
they're cocaine fueled.
And it's some of them are great, and individually they are all great, but put them all together, just because you like
a lot to try and remember.
Well, just because you like 10 different ingredients doesn't mean they're going to make a great cake when you put them all together. That's kind of what. There we go, and that's kind of what's happened here. I like all these individual ingredients. I'll probably try the cake, but it's not always going to work. Sometimes you're going to not want to eat that cake.
No.
Although on this occasion, I don't mind eating a slice of this cake now and again.
I probably wouldn't. I'd probably miss it.
Okay, so Dan and Alice get caught in a time loop, like a dream loop, which is really cool. I like this idea. She runs around the corner, she gets in Dan's car, and she's like, we gotta go save Debbie. They get to where they gotta go. She gets out of the car, runs around the corner, and she goes, we gotta go save Debbie. And after about 4 times, he says to her, I feel like we've done this before. And she's like, hang on a minute, we're in a dream. This is deja vu. We're caught up in a dream loop. And I think that's a really cool thing. First time I ever saw that, I was like, whoa. I thought that was cool. Anyway,
do you think in episode 69, The Wet Dream, the nightmare would be like Freddy jerking you off?
Me, or
just in general, like the victim? You're gonna like this, and
Isn't there a what's the movie with the paranormal hand job or something like that?
Oh, there is something like that, isn't there?
Yeah. Where there's a ghost that just goes around jerking people off.
Or Ghost Blowjob. Dan Aykroyd.
Yeah. Shark Blowjob. There's so many shark movies.
There isn't a shark blowjob film, is there?
I hope not.
How's that work?
Painfully.
Blowhole.
Unless you're giving the shark a blowjob.
How's that work?
Oh, just get underneath the shark.
I don't know what happens with underneath sharks.
It's not a shark's fin sticking out the water on that one.
I don't know what goes on down there.
If any of you know what a shark's penis is like, please let us know on the Facebook page.
If any of you know what the bottom of a shark is like, the undercarriage, please let us know.
The undercarriage of a shark. That's my new punk band, Shark's Undercarriage.
Oh, Shark Undercarriage.
Yeah.
The Shark Undercarriages.
So, cut back to Debbie working out, and suddenly Freddy appears above her.
Fucking hell, he snaps her arms with the weight. That is kind of cool.
So he bends her arms back, so her hands are going back to her shoulders so much that her elbow bones snap out of the skin. And then randomly, and this is only because she squashed a cockroach in the opening scene like an hour ago.
It's just like, let's just, what can we do with the effects?
She turns into a giant butt-praying mantis bug. Her head bursts open and a bug's head comes out. Then she's in a roach motel and he says something like, check in, but you can't check out or something. And then he just crushes her.
It's it's a terrible mess at this point, and I'm talking about the film story, not the effects.
Yeah, as we said, there isn't really a story. It's just
stuff.
Effects
Just
could be
throw it
loaded
all
up.
in, yeah. Which
on
I
and
get.
on and
I
on.
get for the time. I understand it.
Alice runs Freddy over because he's in the street. They hit a tree. They take down to hospital in an ambulance. She begs them not to put him to sleep because if you put him to sleep,
Someone's face is peeled off as well, off the floor. They're just stuck, and their face just gets pulled off as they're pulled out of the floor.
Yeah, who was that?
I can't remember. It's a little bit earlier on, just before that. And yeah, it's just.
Oh
like,
no, that is Debbie. She falls down onto the fly paper.
Yeah.
And
that's
as
her.
she pulls herself out, her face comes off, and that's
quite
when the bug.
full on.
Yeah, the bug's head bursts out of her.
It's all gooey and yucky.
It's essentially an effects masterclass. This movie.
Yeah.
Not much else.
Yeah.
And in fact, if it was one company that had done everything, this would be the one movie you take as your showreel, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Like,
I did everything in this.
Did that. Yeah.
So yeah, they ask him, they beg him not to put him down to sleep. And he does go to sleep, and Freddy stabs him, but he's still kind of alive. He's just a bit injured. It's okay at the moment. So Alice decides to take some sleeping pills, and she wears Debbie's stuff. She wears Rick's bandana. She's got his nunchucks. She's got Sheila's fucking weird gadget. I still don't know what it does. Is it a taser? Is it a dildo?
Should really
I don't
show
know.
us what it does to make us go, oh, glad she's got that with her.
Her friend says something to her. When she gives it to her, she said, oh, this is my spectral audio analyzer or something like that. It could be a PK meter.
I'm going to say it's a little pound carrying box for when she's at a shopping centre and she needs a supermarket trolley.
It might be that. It might be a PK meter. It could be a vibrator. I honestly don't know what it does, other than a light comes on and it makes some noise.
Indeed.
And it looks like it'll stun you like a taser.
Yeah.
But anyway, she's got all these things with her, and she looks in the mirror. Obviously, this is the first time she sees herself because her mirror's been covered up with photos. She rips them all off, and she looks in the mirror, and she's a badass. And she says, "Fucking A."
Does she?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. She's ready for it now. And Dr. Kruger has Dan in the hospital now. So Alice enters Dan's dream while he's, being beaten by Freddy. And Freddy puts them into, for no reason at all, they end up in a giant kaleidoscope, then end up in a church. Dan starts hemorrhaging, and he fades away. We think he's dead, but actually what's happened is the doctors have woken him up, so he's come out of the dream. He hasn't died at all. And he says, "Why did you do that? I was going to help her." And they said, "Well, because we've saved your life. You were hemorrhaging blood and we brought you back." So then we get this weird nonsense now where basically Alice starts doing martial arts, backflips, somersaults, spin kicks, all doubled quite badly by a martial artist. And her and Freddy have a big old throwdown in this church. He says to her, "I'm eternal, you can't beat me." She shoots him with the stun gun thing. He shows her that his torso is made up of loads of tiny little faces.
That's quite cool.
I love that effect. One of my favourite effects. And it's all the souls that he's ever
they'll
killed.
move in. There's loads of voices. You can hear them and stuff.
Kind of like
It's really quite creepy. It's like his torture, isn't it?
Kind of like in Scrooged when Bill Murray opens the creature in the lifts, the Grim Reaper.
Because she kind of shocks him with a beam, doesn't she?
Well, this is the beam from her friend's vibrating gadget thing.
Oh, which we didn't know what was, so we weren't invested anyway.
We don't know what it was. So she ends up slamming back against. Freddy ends up slamming back against the wall, and loads of tiny little arms come out of him, and all the souls that he's ever killed all start grabbing at him and. They just rip him apart. They rip his face off. Really good effects here. Obviously, it's Robert Englund with his head sticking through a wall.
It's like Pinhead being taken back to hell.
Yeah, it's great. And he's ripped apart. The souls are all free. They all fly away. And then Alice says, "Rest in hell." And in the morning, Dan and Alice are holding hands. They go to wish him well. And they chuck a coin in, and then we just see Freddy's reflection in the water, and that's the end.
Yep.
Now, there is no plot per se other than let's get a bunch of teenagers together and kill them in many, many multiple practical effects ways. What I will say, though, is, although we've moaned about parts of this film, it is fun. If you put it on a Friday night or you put it on in the background over like the Halloween period, whenever you look up, you're going to see a cool thing happening, a cool effect. It's a Freddy movie, and it's a later Freddy movie, so it's not going to be one of the ones that's like, oh, wow, like the first one was just so groundbreaking, you know, and made kids not want to go to sleep. Like, I was 9 when I saw it. I didn't want to go to sleep. Like, it really affected me. It was based on a true story, weirdly, of loads of people dying in their sleep in the same apartment block that Wes Craven read in a newspaper and turned into this. But so take Freddy out of this and just watch each individual scene for what it is, which is, as Gav said, it's a little effect showcase, really, each scene. And then they've stitched it together with Freddy Krueger and chuck in some nunchucks, then I'm happy.
I know you are. You give it a thumbs up?
I do give it a smaller thumbs up.
Like a Jeremy Beadle style hand.
Jeremy Beadle. It's the last... maybe the third one. Okay, I'll be realistic. The third one is probably the last great 80s Freddy movie. This one's all right, but it is clinging on to the coattails of the third one. It came out so soon after. It's really trying to repeat what that guy you're seeing on lunchboxes, cereals, all the stuff we've talked about. It's really just cashing in on Freddy, and he's not in it enough. Like you said, Gab, he's not in it enough, really.
I enjoyed it when he was on there. I'd have liked to have seen more of Freddy Krueger.
Yeah.
I give it a thumbs down, really. I'm not a fan. But if you're a purist and need to watch them, then yeah. Or you want to watch, you're like, I just want some effects, loads of people dying in random ways, maybe watch this. But then again, I would go Friday the 13th, but I'm biased towards that series.
I would say if you've never seen a Nightmare on Elm Street movie and you want to watch some of them, I'd say just watch the first 3, because the third one is Freddy is funny, but he's still
bode well for next year or next time.
I've got to be honest. Next year's The Dream Child. That is my least favourite.
I actually remember that one. That's where he's like a child taking down the stairs to the basement bit, isn't it? I actually saw that a couple of times on Sky Movies back in the day.
The good thing about that one is after that one is The Final Nightmare.
What was that, 6?
With Roseanne Barr.
Oh.
And the effects in it are incredible. The practical effects are just insane. And that was the one that was in 3D at the cinema. Everyone was raving about that.
When's it? So then
7 is a new Nightmare, which is the meta one.
Meta one, which kind of seems to scream a bit. I don't really know it.
And then after that, it's Freddy vs. Jason.
Oh, nice. I'll be into that one.
Yeah. And then after that, and we probably won't be covering it, is the remake, which was fucking awful.
I might have seen it, I'm not sure.
Really not very good. But yeah, we still will cover number 5 because there was some good stuff about it. What I like about number 5 shows how much we love this movie. We're talking about the next one now. But the number 5, the one we'll be doing next, has the backstory of Jason, son of 100 maniacs, and all that kind of stuff. So
yeah.
So there we go. But yeah, so small thumbs up from me, thumbs down from Gav. If you're a completist like Gav said and you love your Freddy, you can't get enough, you're going to love this. If you would just want to see some crazy special practical effects, yeah. But it's not essential Nightmare on Elm Street viewing.
No. Right, cool. Well, I can see Bill Murray's popped in.
Hello, Bill.
Hello, Bill.
What do you mean you can't stick around?
Well, you have to do the outro.
Yeah, you've got to do the intro and outro.
You're paid, you're contracted for both. Okay.
But he said he hasn't brought anything this week. Oh, you sent me an email. All right, I'll bring that up in a minute and I'll read that out.
You don't, no point do we say we have to bring stuff. It's very nice of you. We appreciate it, but you don't have to bring stuff every time.
He did it on the last episode. Now he thinks, no, you don't have to do it every time.
It's not like a weird fish or something bringing us gifts.
Or a cat bringing us a dead mouse.
That's it, a fish.
I don't think a fish Fucking hell, where does your mind go sometimes?
I watched a video where like a dolphin or a whale, it was a young killer whale, said, "Whoa, come with me," whoa, in fish language to the boat. The boat went out there, right? And the big mum killer whale was like a bit like, "Oh, I'm fucked up somehow," because I had something wrong with it. They sorted that out. And the boat, "Hey, I'm all happy," and they brought him back like a turtle or something in its mouth as a gesture.
Have you been watching Free Willy 3?
Free Willy 3? Cool. Sounds like a weird one.
Yeah. A trilogy we'll probably never be covering on this show. Okay, so Bill, I know you're busy, but if you can just take it away, please, and take us into World of the Strange.
Bill.
Hi, welcome back to World of the Strange.
World of the Strange. It's a strange world.
It's a strange. It's a strange, Michael.
It's a strange world.
Anyway.
Right, so Bill's telling me he feels like he's let us down. As you said, you don't need to bring us anything, Bill Murray, but thank you anyway. So he's handed me 2 emails. He wants me to read the first one out. Okay. Freddy Krueger's the name, you know my game, Elm Street's the place, if you've got the time, I'm gonna bust a rhyme. This is the lyrics to the Freddy Fat Boy song, Bill. Right, you thought that was funny. Alright, I'm not reading that out. Sorry, Gav.
It's not funny.
Yeah, I know. Right, anyway. So what's the story you've actually got for us? Right, okay. Oh, I think Gav's gonna like this one. Okay. All right. I'm gonna read this one out. I won't spoil this, Gav, by giving you the headline. I'll just start reading the story and let it evolve. I know you love letting the things just roll out, so
yeah, I should try not to interrupt you because sometimes it's hard because I'm always a bit like, what?
No, I love it. I love it when you do. US Customs and Border Protection said that the person that they stopped could have contracted a disease from the unusual jewellery and developed serious health issues. So I'll get into this story now.
Okay. What country?
US.
Okay.
A box of giraffe poo. Wow, your eyes. Has been seized by customs agents at a US airport after a woman tried to bring the feces into the country to make a necklace.
Right, my first question before we got to it was why, and you'd answered it before I even said it. Changed my mind straight away, and it said we're straight away getting into different questions without answers. It's like we're telepathic or something. Wow, to make a necklace
out of giraffe poo.
Why? What's wrong with horse poo in America?
I don't know. Should we go into the story a bit?
Could you not get giraffe poo from a zoo if you're that desperate? Why'd you have to import it? There's another thing. There's so many questions.
The funny thing is, she declared. So they said anything to declare. She said, "Yes, I've got this giraffe poo in a box."
And did they just like what?
There's a photo of it as well. It's not very nice. It's just lots of round turds in a box. And it's in just like a shoebox as well.
What's going on? Has she obviously got some problems?
Well, look, let's get into the story. So the woman declared a small box of poo when she was selected to have her belongings inspected upon arriving at the airport in Minnesota by the US Customs and Border Patrol. She told the officials, "I picked the poo up when I was in Kenya recently." So she's picked it up herself, put it in this box. And she thought, "I'll bring it back with all my luggage because I'm planning on making a necklace out of it."
Now, I understand you can go on a holiday and go to a castle and go, there's a little bit of stone from the wall there. I'm going to take a bit. And that's a bit of history. That I can kind of understand that.
We don't condone that, by the way, guys.
I don't know, of course, but I understand that slightly. But when you're there looking at animals, amazing. There's such and there's all that poo. At what point do you look at the poo and your mind goes, necklace?
Well, I'm going to answer that question for you now.
Great.
So the woman said the woman from Iowa said, "Look, I don't know what the problem is. I've done this in the past." And they said, "What do you mean?" She said, "I've made a necklace out of moose poo."
It doesn't make anything better. I still need reasons for that one as well.
So giraffe poo can be brought into the US if you've got the proper permits and inspections. However, she decided to negate all of that and just bring it in a shoebox.
I wonder who got the job of writing up that paperwork on the computer online.
Johnny, what about giraffe poo? Where do we stand on that? Oh, we haven't got that one actually. Let's get that in the book. You need a giraffe poo permit.
Yeah, what we're looking for? Like, is it poisonous? So it need to be like what sort of poo? What if it's a bad poo? At what point is there a thin line between good and bad poo? What's going on?
I don't know, but a radio station have reported the woman isn't going to be facing sanctions because she did declare the feces, and they've confiscated it from her and it will be destroyed. Someone's job that day is to burn a box of giraffe poo.
You didn't explain the reason at all. You just said, "I've made another one." That did not explain that one either. We needed some explanation of poo necklaces. I don't want just under my nose a necklace of poo. Do you compress it into like a Lego block style? What do you do with your poo?
Do you cover it in sort of plastic so it's sealed?
I presume you would, and maybe what does she do for... I need more answers. What does she do for a job?
Because as much as you dry a poo out, as far as I know, it wouldn't turn into like wood or a material that you could easily then thread through a necklace and wear around your neck. And like you say, it's gonna smell a bit. Unless, like you say, you've lacquered it up or something. But why? And at what point do people? Oh, that's an interesting necklace. That it looks like shit, shaped shit. What is it? Shaped shit. Right. I mean,
do you want to kiss me? Oh, okay. What's that smell? Is that your breath? No, it's my shit necklace.
To be fair, the lumps of turd in the picture do look like big round beads that you would probably wear in a very big beaded necklace.
But do you like my necklace? Do you think it's shit? No, of course not. Well, it is actually shit. It's made of shit.
Each one is about the size of like a plum, I would say. So it's quite big.
Well, it's like a Marge Simpson shit necklace.
Yeah, it is a Marge Simpson shit necklace.
What the fuck? What's up with this person?
Bill's happy that you're reacting this way to this story.
See, now I need to know, is there, what other things have people made in the world out of shit?
Well, because of this, the US Customs and Border Protection have had to issue a statement reminding people about the dangers of bringing fecal matter into the US. If somebody enters the US and hasn't declared fecal matter, there's a high possibility you could contract a disease from the jewellery and develop serious health issues. This is somebody had to give this statement.
Someone had to write this up.
A statement to the press about it. African swine fever, classical swine fever, foot and mouth disease, and swine vascular disease
are
many of the diseases that can be found in Kenya and therefore in giraffe poo. So she could have brought in one or all of those: African swine fever, classical swine fever, foot and mouth disease, or swine vascular disease.
And start off a fucking pandemic. How did the pandemic start? Well, we may as well just kill all of the human race because we're as thick as shit because we like to wear shit as necklaces.
Marge Simpson.
It's like, oh, sorry for, like, I'm standing there, maybe there is these pearly gates and there's heaven and there's God, and he's got a little sign-in book and he's standing there going, all right, God, how's it going? Oh, I'm alright, how you doing? Right, you've been alright. Yeah, so, right, you fucking killed the whole planet. Like, the whole fucking planet you destroyed because you wanted a shit necklace. Why couldn't you just buy some fucking necklaces? Like, why'd you, like... It must be like some symbolisation for the woman where she's got the giraffe with her the whole time, the innards of the giraffe around me.
I'm really sorry to say that there is no reason given for her to want to do this.
If she's listening, give us an email explaining it, and I won't go as harsh on you.
She's been asked to remain anonymous.
I fucking would be, wouldn't it? Like, Jesus Christ, can you please not to let anyone know that I wanted a shit necklace?
The funny thing is, when you keep saying shit necklace, I just keep thinking of like a really rubbish, low quality necklace, but you mean legitimately a shit necklace.
That's what I'm saying. She say to people, do you think my necklace is shit? And they're like, no, not at all.
It's a bit different to giving somebody a pearl necklace, isn't it? You give someone a shit necklace. Fucking hell.
Sarah wouldn't like that.
Fucking hell. I don't think many people would, especially if it's coming out of a giraffe. You gotta stand underneath it.
That's taking some sexy stuff really weird. It's weird enough anyway, people shitting on each other, but come on, animals shitting on you. It's we're going into another territory, and you know that is done somewhere.
And I'll tell you what, giraffes, their poo is, like I've said, it ranges between the size of a plum and an apple, I would say. And they're very tall, so if you're lying on the ground and those are dropping down on you, that's probably going to hurt a little bit.
I've got a headache. What have you got a headache? I had shit lumps.
I imagine it to be like one of those tennis ball firing machines, but you're led on the ground and it's firing down at you.
What sort of pleasure would you get from that?
I think we're going into a weird territory now.
It's a weird one. This is World of the Strange. This is the world of the shitty strange.
Well, let's shift gears now, because I do have... thank you for that, Bill Murray.
Thank you, Bill.
So, moving away from fecal matter, I mentioned in the last episode that my children had been talking to me about the people that live in the dining room door, the skeleton that's in the wall in their bedroom, and there is a plastered over wall, and the werewolf/big dog that lives in my bedroom. Oh, and the owl that visits them in the night. Well, there's a little addition to that now. So keeping with the hallway and the dining room door, I was told several times over the last week about the ghost that's in the hallway. And I said, where? And they said, he's there, right there. And we were all having dinner. And it was basically, this ghost was apparently watching us. And I said, what's the ghost doing? And they said, he's eating. I said, oh, is he having dinner as well? And they said, no, but he eats off the floor at night.
The ghost eats off the floor at night?
The ghost eats off the dining room floor at night.
They're probably just saying stuff, though. They're very young.
I know, but...
The fact that if you actually visualised that and had a ghost on all fours eating off the floor would be the creepiest shit ever. Yeah,
well, it'd be like that scene in Audition when that thing gets out of the bag and starts slurping down on that sick. So that's that. So there we go. Giraffe poo and ghosts eating off the floor, and Fat Boys raps. So thanks for that. Gav, any more to say about shit necklaces?
No. I think while I'm on this planet, I won't talk about necklaces made of jar shit again.
I'm sure if we Googled it, there would be many items made of shit. I know
for it.
I know that. Well, guano is.
Shit.
Well, it's not just bat shit. It's another word for shit. But different types of guano can be made into pottery and pipes. Tribes do use shit.
But to hang around your neck.
Yeah, to bring a shoebox full of giraffe turds home because you want to make a necklace, it's just, you need to be locked up, really.
The human race is doomed.
Bill, take us out of here.
That's all the time we've got for this week on World of Strange. Next week, though, Gimme Ira. Hairless pets. Weird.
10 years ago. Now, Michael Myers has come home. He has returned for one more night of unholy terror.
Michael! Somebody help me!
He's here to kill that little girl and anybody who gets in his way.
Oh, God!
Who's gonna be next?
Halloween 4. the return of Michael Myers.
Maybe nobody knows how to stop him.
Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers from 1988. 5.8 out of 10 on IMDb. 10 years after his original massacre, the invalid Michael Myers... really? Okay. The invalid Michael Myers awakens on Halloween Eve and returns to Haddonfield to kill his 7-year-old niece. Can Dr. Loomis stop him? Probably not, because I think he's drunk and just looks fucked.
Michael!
Now this is the stage of Donald Pleasance, which is your impression. It is. I was listening to him going, "Is it Dan? Has Dan got my copy of the movie and somehow dubbed himself?"
Yeah, because this is after he's been burnt in the fire. So in this one, he's got all the special effects on his face, and he's like hobbling around with a stick, going, "You don't understand."
And I'm pretty sure it's not me like dissing Donald Pleasance. I'm pretty sure it was known that he was. I should know this for sure because I'm just specifying it. He was drinking on the set.
Most likely. Most likely.
Well, this is a funny one because obviously this is after the right. We're going to try a different thing here. We're going to do Halloween 3 Season of the Witch. It's a different thing. I've got an idea. John Carpenter saw helming out. He's on my screen now. Helming out a little bit as a producer, being involved with composing and obviously the making of the film, and trying to take the idea of on a Halloween. There's a different movie every year, almost like an anthology, but set over a decade or whatever. And it didn't work because the crowd and the audience wanted the Michael Myers because he was in the 80s, as we've said already and said many times on this show. There's a point in the slashers of that century where the height of them was the main killer. Generally, a big male character with a knife or something like that, killing people. And it didn't work, so he's a witch, so they had to put it back. So this is the one where they're putting it back, and I love the fact Donald Pleasance kept with it until he died, bless him, because he really liked the character of Dr. Loomis. Sam Loomis was taken from Psycho, the name. But yeah, this is the first time they're bringing it back again, and it's quite interesting because they're like, shit, we got to do this again. What do you think about this film?
Yeah, I think in the same way it's interesting. So I have this on VHS. I have all the Halloweens, Jasons and Freddys on VHS, and I always kind of don't bother really so much with 4, 5 and 6 of the Halloweens. Before I get into my sort of thoughts on this, the big pull for this one, I think first of all, the Halloween franchise saw what the Jason and the Freddy franchises were doing and thought, we want some of that money. There'd only been 2 Michael Myers movies at this point. There'd been 3 Halloween movies, like you say, but only 2 Michael Myers movies. And they thought, we can turn Michael into a Jason or a Freddy, and they tried, and it didn't quite work for me. But I was pleasantly surprised rewatching this. In fact, my score has dropped slightly by 1 point for the Freddy movie we've just reviewed, but gone up by a point or so for this movie, because this movie on paper is ticks all the boxes for the horror slasher blueprint. It's a good story. It's not an amazing story. It's a good story.
It's a bit of a loose, what can we do? I'm going to have questions, which obviously I know you can't answer, but we can discuss.
If they involve giraffe poo necklaces, I can't answer them.
Absolutely not.
But what I like about this is I like the characters. I get behind them. I care about them, and actually, it's well written. It's a well written plot.
Yeah, I totally agree with you on that.
There's a few bits that aren't, but the main characters that we follow I quite like, and I think your sister, who's in this,
I will explain that again,
is phenomenal. I think she's incredible in this.
All right, I have got someone in here who's the best actor, but we will get to that. Looking at the special effects, like I said I would do, yes. I would say visually, just check, thrown out there, I'd say that it's probably 1/24th of the size of the
Wow.
others. Yeah, honestly.
1/24.
That's what I'm going with, I guess, from visually looking at it. Yeah.
Well,
That's it's a huge difference, and this isn't an effects heavy thing. This is trying to go back to that, because obviously they're like, right, what are we going to do? And obviously they're going to look at, which they do, and you can tell through this film at different points, you're like, okay, they're homaging, which is never a good thing to do, an original, which is a classic, because it makes you go, I wish I was watching that film. But they've gone back and looked at that and gone, okay, this is the base we're going from, let's make that film. At times, it has that kind of John Carpenter, it starts to go that way a little bit, and then just goes.
It was better than I remembered, and certainly better than
in the series.
It's not as good as H20.
No, I love that
but
one.
it's certainly better than 5 and 6. I wanted to talk about the director very briefly, Dwight H. Little. Interesting career again, like the last director, Rennie Harlan. So this was his first main film, sort of big film that he did. He did a couple of little films before this. And then after this, he directed some TV stuff. He did Freddy's Nightmares, the TV show. He directed a couple of episodes of that. He then went over and did some kung fu, some martial arts films. He directed Steven Seagal in Marked for Death.
Nice.
And then he directed Brandon Lee in Rapid Fire, which is an awesome movie if you haven't seen it.
Okay.
Then skipped over to Free Willy 2. We talked about Free Willy recently. Just
earlier on.
Yeah, Free Willy 2, The Adventure Home. Then he directed Wesley Snipes in Murder at 1600.
Is the first Free Willy going to come up later on in the show too? So we've got like all three of them.
Maybe. He went on to do some X-Files episodes, then stuff like Arrow. So really dipped his toe into lots and lots of TV shows. CSI.
Good for him.
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Dust Till Dawn, the series. And he's got a new horror movie out, which I'm hearing good things about, which came out this year.
Interesting.
Called Natty Knox. I'm not sure if you've heard of it. It's
I think I have seen the name.
People are sort of talking about it. It's an unusual name. So he's still doing stuff, and he's made a horror movie in 2023. So he's gone around the houses. He's done Free Willy. He's done some martial arts with Seagal and Brandon Lee. But he's gone back to where he started with a horror movie. So it'll be interesting to see what Natty Knox is like. But yeah, I just wanted to mention that, and especially because Free Willy is in his back catalogue. We've all had a Free Willy in our back catalogues, haven't we? I can resist that one.
Fucking hell. It's not the Carry On podcast.
Donald Pleasance. Donald Pleasance is back in this one, isn't he? He's like you said, he is fucked in this one because he's all burnt and his voice is even croakier.
It's you. The opening of this film, we do have like these quite nice atmospheric kind of John Carpenter shots where it's very still. It's just literally shots of like an old town, just little things here and there, Halloween-y things, just little photographs, real still. Well, not photographs, still shots, static.
A barn door there, just showing us that it's that season.
It's actually kind of it really does actually put you in there and straight into the kind of Halloween atmosphere that John Carpenter created.
Yeah,
which is the music score, the slowness, the town, kind of a Stephen King type way, but more of a stylish way of
just leaves blowing along the ground.
Yeah,
that kind
you
of
all
thing.
know that vibe, and that's kind of why I like the Halloween movies, and that's why it's kind of weird. There's almost with Halloween compared to Friday the 13th and Jason, they're both in their little section over here. Halloween's a different section because it does come with like a more of a pedigree. Not saying that Wes Craven did with Nightmare on Elm Street, but Halloween is a lot more crafted, stylish sort of film, more so than the Friday the 13th ones. And I think that set the tone of it, and they've always tried to kind of keep a more serious thing to it. And there's no jokes
I agree,
going
actually.
on,
I agree, and actually, I talked in our last review. I said that out of the three franchises, Jason being our favourite, Freddy wins the award for best effects overall, but I would say best atmosphere in any of those franchises definitely belongs to Halloween. Even in the poorer entries, you still got that atmosphere of this town with all these houses in this little neighborhood, and shit's going to go down, and you just get this. And it's always on the cusp of Halloween, and it always feels
and that's the best thing. It
always feels really seizable.
We love Halloween.
And this is why we loved Hubie Halloween, weirdly, which we are covering on our next episode, because it still keeps that small town Halloween time of year, leaves blown on the ground vibe. It does something, and there's something about the imagery of a pumpkin on someone's porch, or a Halloween decoration up, a skeleton in someone's window.
Yeah.
Happy Halloween, and all that kind of stuff, and then a shop that has pegs with masks hanging on it and stuff like that.
And this beginning totally sets that vibe. And so we're straight into this town, but we start off at this sort of morgue hospital, and we find out it's actually, like the original, a transfer for the old fogey Michael Myers, apparently, who's apparently some now, how old's he, for them to class this?
Well, this takes place in October 1988, so...
But how old was Michael Myers? What are they saying how old he is then?
He must be in his 30s by now.
If it's not... No, probably 40s, I guess, possibly, but that's not really decrepit, like they're saying, is it?
No, they mean invalid as in he's been in a coma, he's not really moving, he's comatose.
Silly, aren't I?
He's barely moved.
So
not
anyway,
invalid as in he's an old crippled old man.
And it's a transfer. Loomis, obviously, we're going to find out, hasn't been informed about this. But is he actually still a working doctor, Loomis is? Or is he retired?
Well... The guy
that seems to be like, why are you so invested? As I am!
When they're prepping him for transfer, and my first question before I talk about that is, why the fuck do they always transfer Michael on Halloween or the day before Halloween? Why?
It does seem a wrong time to do it. That your patient, if there's at any moment in 365 days of the year, your patient could be traumatised. Is there anything which might be a trigger? Well... Halloween, he slaughtered his sister, and that's kind of why he's here. Right, when are we doing the transfer? It's the day before Halloween. Or is it Halloween, is it?
Well, no, they start the transfer on Halloween.
Wow.
No, they start the transfer the night, 2 hours before midnight or something.
Oh, right, so it's just before Halloween we're doing it. Right, I think we should change it. Loomis knows, and Loomis is not happy though when he finds out.
It would be like having a patient who's a werewolf and saying, "Right, we're gonna let them go for a little walk in the park because they haven't been out for a while. When should we do it? Full moon?
Don't do it on a full moon.
Oh no, I'm going to send them out on the full moon.
It's going to be a full moon when they're out there. Literally, the moon comes out when they're on the walk. Don't do it then. I've got some
pet mogwai. I was going to take them all for a swim. No, don't do that. No, I'm going to take... I thought they'd want to go for a swim.
I was going to wake the vampire up. I know it's daytime, but it's all right now. No, don't do that, because that's what kills them.
Yeah, they go to transfer him, and they talk about... you get that kind of Silence of the Lambs
you get the
style.
Info dump, the guard going through town and what's going on. And it is very Silence of the Lambs type thing. Oh, people in here are crazy. That sort of thing going on.
He says, welcome to hell. And he says, do you not hear about this guy? He's like, this guy murdered 16 people on Halloween 10 years ago. His own doctor, shot him 6 times and set him on fire. Yeah. And when they're about to do the transfer, the main head of the department, somebody says to him, have you informed Dr. Loomis? And he's like, no, he hasn't really been in touch lately. Oh, he's still working then? He said, yeah, to be honest with you, I can't wait for him to retire or die.
Like in Office Space, they probably just stopped paying him and moved his desk down into the basement, but he's still there working away.
He is fully lunatic in this now at this point.
I'm a raging alcoholic lunatic with a firearm, concerned that this killer has a child from years ago, which I don't know why I'm still hanging on to this, because it's been years since, and I've probably had other patients. Some reason
I'm not getting paid for this.
Some reason I'm fucking obsessed with this kid.
Well,
he's pure evil.
As they leave in the ambulance, somebody says, drive carefully, and then we get the classic score kick in, and we know...
No, this is what happens. We've got this bit going up, with the setup of what's going on. They've got the character, his arm kind of fell down, they put the arm back on the bed, that classic motif. And then we get in the ambulance, and we've got a slight bit of tension built up here. Just out there, the atmosphere from early on, a slight bit of tension, it's still leading on. Completely taken away, where Michael just goes, oh, right, fucking, I'm awake now, I'm going to shove my thumb in your eye. And then it cut to, the classic Halloween theme tune. It's like, that suspense has completely just gone baseball bat had hit it away, and we're just literally okay, Halloween.
Just before that, somebody drops in. Oh, apparently he's got a niece. This is his only living relative, and then he gets his thumb through his forehead. Now, Gav, since when has Michael Myers been able to thumb you through the head?
Yeah, I don't know, but that just happens.
Not even through the eye.
We
through
don't
the head.
see anyone else die though. But like I said, the 1/24th, the effects team of the other movie, but we really don't. We just see it all of a sudden. We see it later on discover an ambulance upside down the river. But we get to that. We will get to that.
Well, we cut to the introduction of young Jamie Lloyd, played by a very young Danielle Harris, who would go on to become a scream queen in her own right. She's very sexy older woman. And
one drunken night, a sister to me.
One drunken night. So it was a long time ago you told this story, Gav. I feel you owe it to our listeners who aren't perhaps as seasoned as others to remind us why every time Danielle Harris comes up, I always say, your sister?
And watching it earlier, watching the films, or watching it before the show, I actually thought, I think this is the movie that got me to send her an email. And I was just really drunk, and I feel quite responsible for possibly like her thinking, God, my fans are fucking weirdos. Like, you know. I was just very drunk and sent her a message saying, you know, I feel like we grew up together. And like, so it's like you're my sister. Because I used to watch this film so much stuff. Don't know why. It's because she's in a few other movies, you know. I was just drunk. I wasn't coming on to her. It wasn't like some something weird thing. I wasn't sending her pictures of my penis, which, you know, is weird anyway, personally, I think. Just said that. But, like, that's enough to, like, if someone said to me, I feel like we're brothers, like, going, I don't know.
I don't think it's that weird, but I do think... She gets it a lot.
See, I said that in a fairly clear way. You got to remember, I wrote that in an email drunk. That could have come across with the grammar. That could have been like just me just speaking out loud with no commas, nothing. You know, you'd be like, "What is this insane person sent me?"
Our listeners want to know: did she reply to your email?
No, I don't think so. I'm pretty sure not. I would remember. I'm praying that I don't meet her ever, or she some reason would remember. I'm sure not. I'm sure she doesn't remember every weirdo, because that'd be weird.
Well, Jamie it's going to turn out she is the uncle of the boogeyman, and so she's the remaining niece, the remaining living relative of Michael Myers. Her parents are both dead, and she's now in foster care. She cannot sleep. It's 4 a.m.
Right, why has she got PTSD for? So her mum is Jamie Lee Curtis. Who's her dad?
No.
Yeah, they say that's Jamie. That's Laurie Strode's daughter.
Oh, really? I thought that was her auntie. Oh, right, okay.
No, and Michael Myers is her uncle.
Ah, right, okay.
Because Michael Myers is Laurie Strode's brother. It's all fucking very fucking James Bond. It's very Return of the Jedi, Star Wars, isn't it?
But the reason she's suffering is she's a very young child who only 11 months ago lost both of her parents. So
where's Laurie Strode and her dad then?
They're dead.
How did they die?
I can't remember if they cover that really. In a car crash or something?
It just seems... I remember... I only watched it earlier today, and I was taking notes down, and I was like, I missed these bits. I'm definitely going to have to ask Dan. But I don't think they were that clear.
I don't think they really say.
I feel like there's definitely cutting room scenes.
And this is the problem with the Halloween franchises.
It's disjointed.
There's 3 or 4 timelines.
But yeah, why they just... Yeah, exactly now. They must be like, where do we start with this coming back after Season of Witch? Which understandably would be hard, but don't bother. But they're like, at the same time, like, CAD and the producers must be like, we just want to make money.
They probably thought,
you know, they
Jamie
probably
Lee
want
Curtis,
to make a film, but...
Well, they probably thought Jamie isn't coming back. Jamie Lee Curtis isn't coming back, so let's just say that she's dead. Little did they know that she would come back and fuck up the timeline, and then come back again in a different timeline.
Yeah, it's weird.
It is weird.
But yeah, so that makes sense. That's why she got PTSD. Thank you. And she's basically been fostered by family.
Yeah, she's got pictures of Jamie Lee Curtis that she keeps looking at, and she keeps seeing Michael in the mirror behind her, but he's not really there. She's a very nervous, anxious, paranoid, scared little girl. She does a good job, but like I said, I think she's great in this.
Why is she concerned about Michael Myers? Surely Laurie Strode, Jamie Lee Curtis, as a mum, would have hidden that from her. Now, let's take it from the example. She would have done. Let's take it from the new films, the Gordon Green ones, where that's a thing. The mum's like a raging alcoholic, Jamie Lee Curtis, isn't it? And trying to use that as a coping mechanism for the trauma. Let's presume that actually happened if we kept this timeline. She would have still... So I suppose she said, yeah, she could have been really freaked out again by the fact that he might be coming back. So,
well,
it's weird that she's, as a daughter, is seeing these images of something that she's never seen.
I'm trying to tell you. Because everyone at school is constantly bullying her and reminding her that Michael Myers is her uncle, and constantly saying, Jamie's uncle's the boogeyman, Jamie's uncle's the boogeyman, and they're just like winding her up totally. And it's just something what they should have done is done a a witness protection type thing, where they didn't tell anybody her real name and moved her to a completely different town.
Moved from the town where these things happened would have made sense for Laurie Strode.
Because at her school,
you'd think Laurie Strode would move away.
Yeah, because at school, it was, you see in a moment, all the kids are just absolutely horrible to her. But yeah, so she's not great. She's going through some stuff that a child probably shouldn't, and she keeps seeing images of Michael. She has a moment where her cupboard door keeps opening, and then a hand comes out from under the bed, which really was one of my traumas as a kid, that something would grab me from under the bed. So that always gets me, that one. And it's Michael in a very shit mask. Let's talk about this shit mask.
I'm totally sneaking into your house one night.
Under my bed. With the box of giraffe poo.
Well, no, he doesn't have a shit mask yet.
Well, we do see his mask at this point. He pops out from under the bed, but it's all a dream.
Oh, sorry, yes, the dream, not the actual. Because I'm quite interested to talk about, when we get to it, what we do see, the stages of development of Michael Myers in this film.
Well, it all turns out that was a nightmare. None of it was real. She's just having these nightmares over and over again. And we cut to morning, and it says on screen, it says Haddonfield, 31st of October, 1988.
You would think, though, her PTSD would be her parents having a car crash, and that's what she'd relive in nightmares, not Michael Myers. Why?
Well, I don't know.
There's no reason for it.
It just ties it into the second film, doesn't it? That's all.
It's just a load of shit. Go on.
Cashing in. So it's family breakfast time, and her foster parents are having to go out unexpectedly on Halloween night to a big function that her foster dad is getting some award or being promoted. So they say to her foster sister Rachel, "You've got to look after your foster sister tonight." And she says, for God's sake, I don't want to look after her. I'm supposed to be going on a date with my boyfriend.
It's quite a good teenager response. I could see this.
But little does she know that poor little Jamie's listening outside the door, and she says, "I'm really sorry that I've ruined all your lives. My parents died, and my uncle's a killer, and now I'm here, and you're all having a shit time because of me.
And you're a bunch of cunts."
And then the parents say to her oldest foster sister, "Well, I hope you're proud of yourself. You really need to think before you speak. She's already going through so much. We're only asking you to look after a little girl." So she feels guilty about that and goes in, and they make up, and it's all fine.
Yeah, well done, cop jockey.
She promises her, "I'll take you out trick-or-treating tonight. It'll be fun. We'll have a good time. It'll be fun. I'm sure it will."
But it should be, because she isn't traumatised by Michael Myers. She doesn't need to be. So Halloween's not really a thing. It's her parents' is thing, unless it's the anniversary of the parents dying on Halloween, which I don't think it is. Otherwise, that'd be again silly. Yeah. So again, it should be fine.
Well, cut to drunken old Loomis turning up at the hospital to pay his visit to Michael on Halloween.
Why wasn't I told?
He's got a very burnt face. He's very angry. What do you mean? It has been removed. And he keeps saying, it's, what? Where is it? And he's talking about Michael. And then they say,
love the other guy saying to him, I think you need mental help.
Yeah, he does say, I think you need mental help. And he says, is this just one of your patients? He's like, it's not a patient. It's not a human. It's evil. Just evil incarnate.
And the guy's just like, go home. And just as that happened, Saved by the Bell, Dr. Loomis, old Donald Pleasance, doesn't need to wipe his penis in the curtain. He's going to listen to what's going on the phone call. That is a reference to a movie, not me being crude. He is going to listen to the phone call that the guy there takes and says to him, what? Puts the phone down and explains to him, there's been an accident. Whoa! It's the ambulance. Oh! And he just turns around and waddles out like the Joker. Or the Penguin, sorry. Like the Joker.
Cut to the police crime scene. So the ambulance that was transferring Michael is in a ditch in a river on its side.
Upside down.
Where are all the bodies? Did you count all the bodies? They're like, well, they're all a bit mangled up.
It's a mess. We can't.
Come on, they can figure out how many bodies are in that ambulance.
Why is it a mess? How has just a bus turning upside down, like, made all the limbs and torso and everything just go, like, split everywhere? And how has Michael done that as well?
Well, this is this first sign of just how crazy he is. He pushes the cops out of the way, and he, in fully clothed...
Just goes, I'm going down there.
He just wades into the water up to his waist.
He's like an insane, demented Columbo at this point.
I was about to say the exact same sentence. He just wades into the water up to his waist, starts looking in the back of the ambulance, which is smeared with blood. You know, it's a crime scene. He's contaminating it.
And there's a great Columbo episode with Donald Pleasance. Very good.
Oh, Columbo!
Yeah.
And he looks inside and he says, he's gone. And they're like, oh, I've seen bodies thrown hundreds of feet, you know, in a crash. I'm sure he's around here somewhere. We'll find his body. The police are so casual about it. This is one of the biggest serial killers in the last 10 years.
And to be honest, this should be
really
quite a crime scene if there's bodies just all over the place. It's like, how's that happened? Like, you know, actually, when he looks in the ambulance from a distance, get a wide shot of the bridge and the water, it's a really nice shot, actually.
There's some good choices in this with regards to...
At times, the director of photography. The photography is quite nice.
Yeah, and I'm actually thinking about some of the films we've mentioned that he's done. The director makes good choices. Marked for Death is a very good Seagal movie. Yeah. Rapid Fire has some great shots in it.
Yeah. So Loomis is like, I'm going to Haddonfield. Turns around and just stomps off.
They just go, let him go.
Just fuck him. I can't be bothered with it, honestly.
Honestly, everyone in this movie looks at him when he stomps off or says something like good,
he's pissed out of his face.
Just let him go.
So Loomis gets himself over to a garage to get some fuel.
Well, before then, we see the garage, don't we? There's a man under the car fixing...
Oh, of course.
Fixing the car, and he's in an overalls. And overalls that might just fit a certain Michael Myers, perhaps. Who knows? And he's he's under the car and he sees someone's come in the garage. Who is this? And I love the look of Michael Myers in his hospital gown and bandaged up mummy face.
See, first stage for Michael Myers, and it's really cool because I'd forgotten this. Because when you're reviewing a film, you kind of really look at stuff differently. And I'd totally forgotten this, and I really love it. I'm trying to find a picture of it now, really. I really like that look. I got it.
It's nice to see something different. It's the same as it is when you go back and watch Sackhead Jason. You know, it's nice to see a little bit of a different look,
totally. Because in culture, popular culture, we know of them, and everything else is the prime, the quintessential orc of the characters at their prime peak of what it is. But this one, we've got like just these bloodied white overalls and a bloody mask, kind of Invisible Man like, but it's really shaped bandages around the head with triangles cut sideways very evenly, but then just blood all over it, but no mouthpiece, no nose piece for breathing. So it's got a real they're basically trying to do a mask where it's just the eyepieces, and it's just a really creepy look, which is quite good, because then later on, the next stage of him is, in a moment, he's going to kill this fella. He gets the overalls, so he still, though, doesn't have the Michael Myers mask. He has this bandage with the overalls. And I was just like, that's
my favourite.
Cool.
That's my favourite, is when he's got his overalls, but then a bandaged up white face.
Yeah.
It's cool, man. And yeah, Loomis arrives soon after this and finds the dead mechanic. Then he finds all the people behind the counter that have been killed. And in his head, he's thinking, I fucking knew it. I'm right. I knew it. All of a sudden, Michael smashes out in A-Team style, smashes through the garage door. It's such a Dukes of Hazzard A-Team stunt. He smashes through, but then knocks over one of the petrol pumps, which explodes the gas station. Loomis somehow... Do you know what I mean? No, it's got that feel to it, doesn't it? But Loomis just dives out of the way, and as he... no, he sees Michael, first of all, in the restaurant, doesn't he? This is when he sees him with the mask. And he just says to him, "Why now, Michael? Why now?" It's like, well, it's because it's Halloween, you dumb fuck. That's why.
It's a perfect time, you fucking idiot.
This is the time.
This is why you're a doctor, not detective. I do anyway. I've got to give props to Dr. Loomis's car, where you've got the exhaust, where you put the fuel in, for where the petrol cap is, behind the number plate. Why don't cars do that?
I think a lot of American models have that.
Yeah, but why don't? I guess it's a replacement of where the petrol tank is, I presume. But like, seems quite a cool thing to do.
Even if that guy pulled up, because he starts filling up his own tank, I wouldn't even let that guy do that. You know, he's going to have an accident or blow something up. This guy's unhinged.
Donald Pleasance or Michael Myers.
Donald
Pleasance is pretty much as dangerous as Michael Myers.
I was going to say, he's more dangerous because he's allowed out and about in general public, filling up cars with petrol and
just
stuff.
Going like,
with a gun.
That looks like a Michael Myers shoot. There was almost a part 2 situation going on earlier where we almost shoot the wrong fucking person just because they got a mask on. It's like, Loomis, this mask is all over the place. Do tell people this situation. Don't just go, oh, I think it's Magical Myers en masse.
There is a great moment later talking of Magical Myers where he teleports from a roof to the ground, but we'll get to that.
I didn't see that.
He fucking teleports. So Michael drives off. Loomis is left in the dust, and we cut to Jamie receiving some awful bullying. They say things like, your uncle's the boogeyman. Hey, do you know what I'm going to go as? I'm going to go as a mummy. Do you know what a mummy is? Oh no, you don't, do you? Because your mum's dead. Ha ha ha.
Oh, that's a classic one, isn't it?
You're an orphan, yeah. And then they chase her, crying.
That orphan joke.
Crying, she's screaming and crying through the playground, screaming at her, Jamie's uncle's the boogeyman. So like, it's a double whammy here, really. They're horrible shits.
Just before we got this, when we were at Gage, just rewinding very quickly. DJ rewind. Old Loomis shoots at Michael Myers. He's staring right at him. He's staring at him when he said that line you said, and he shoots at him. And somehow he misses. Shoots at least 5 times, and as soon as he misses and he looks, the music kicks in again, the classic theme, and it's our first real listening of hearing it, and it's basically a homage to the original ending of the film where he shoots, looks over, he's not there, the music kicks in, and it was basically that. I was like, again, stop reminding me about John Carpenter's film. It's not a good look. You're going to make me go, I'm going to turn this off and watch John Carpenter's, but I've actually got to review you. You know.
Review you.
Yes.
So Rachel, foster sister of Jamie, excuse me, and her buddy Lindsay, they pick up Jamie from school, and she's obviously upset from her bullying, and they say, look, how can we cheer you up? Do you want ice cream? Do you want to go trick-or-treating? And she's like, I want both. They're like, okay, cool. Well, let's go and get a costume. We can buy some costumes, even though it is Halloween. They'll be on sale.
So
and then we'll go get ice cream
in that store.
Well, they go to the store where Lindsay's boyfriend works.
I've always liked this part of the film. Don't know why. I kind of like them just wandering around the store, and there's always different Halloween masks. I think probably at this point I started falling asleep, and I'd watch it late at night, you know, just as a movie to watch.
So Jamie picks a costume which is like a clown costume with a mask, like a Harlequin sort of mask. And there's a Michael Myers mask on the shelf behind her. So clearly they haven't banned this mask that a serial killer used,
In that town.
In that town. They're just selling them. It's a bit sick, isn't it?
Like Betty that lives at 33 Main Street is probably been down the local town hall, said, look, what the fuck's up, Mayor? Like, sort this shit out, pull them off.
Because let's not forget, in, I think, Halloween 2, that mask was on sale so much that a random kid got killed wearing it because they mistook him for Michael.
Exactly.
So let's take it off the shelves.
There's multiple reasons. There's been multiple deaths because of this mask. We shouldn't sell it. But no, they sell it, and then there's multiple deaths again. And then it happens, it carries on though.
Well, we see a hand grab the classic Captain Kirk, mask, and this hand is all sort of grey and a bit grizzled, so we know who this is. This is Michael. He's shopping.
Michael's just there, somehow.
Yeah. With a bandage on his face, but no one's noticed. I guess because it's Halloween.
Maybe. And we do, though, get introduction to our three cool dudes.
Well, just before that, Jamie looks at herself dressed as a clown, and she suddenly sees herself as the boy, Michael, from Halloween 1.
Which does play into the ending, I suppose.
But how would she know what her uncle looked like when he was a boy? How would she have that vision, unless she's a Jedi, or... I don't know.
It is really... This is... The whole mind thing it happens through the other Halloween films. They use a lot of mind shit, which is like, what is this all about?
One of my favourite scenes now is where Loomis hitches his way to Haddonfield. Because he's mental and he's on the side of the road just hitching a lift.
So a convertible full of youngsters pulls
cheerleaders.
Up, come on, old man, come on!
And he
goes,
okay,
and starts
my
running,
lucky day.
and then they just will spin it off and leave him in the dust. And then someone else says, come on, old man, get in.
Yeah, and I love this priest. Now, he's like Crazy Ralph's brother from Jason, and he is smashed, driving along, absolutely hammered, and he starts spouting the Bible to him, and it's just a weird scene, and it's the only time in this franchise that Loomis meets someone who's probably slightly more mental than him.
He sort of says to him, like, I think I can tell you're hunting something. And then Dr. Loomis sort of say, oh, what are you hunting?
What are you hunting?
Well, and he says he's hunting something. I've got a feeling he's hunting small children.
Oh my God.
That's my guess.
Just because he's a Catholic priest drunk driving along.
Not just. It's not right.
Yeah. Well, we cut to dusk.
Haddonfield, by the way, looks like a shit town. It looks fucking boring as shit.
Well, cut to dusk now on Halloween, so that's just, the sun's just going down, and we get this great atmospheric imagery of children in costumes
and
walking along the sides.
And we do know what's going on here, is that the boyfriend has been told that he can't go on a date with Jamie's stepsister. Foster sister. And he's pissed off. He's like, why didn't you tell me this morning? And straight away it's just like, because he's trying to get another date and you don't realise this. And he's like, well,
there's
sorry,
another...
I'm telling you now. And it's like, it's a bit late.
There's another hot chick that works at the same store as him when they're buying the costumes.
Which does tell him to fuck off, Wade. But and then later on, cops do it by the books, girl.
Yeah, she's the sheriff's daughter. My favourite character, Sheriff Ben Meeker, in this whole movie, played by Beau Starr, is his daughter. And she's wearing a cops do it by the book t-shirt.
That lady now has had a breast reduction. Did you know?
Fucking hell, Gab. Only you would know this fact.
Only because Danielle Harris was on a podcast and someone else brought it up. I don't know why. And she mentioned it. So that's how I know. Amazing.
Well, Jamie's parents go out. As mentioned, her foster parents have other things they need to be doing tonight related to the careers. So they drive off out of the house, and someone else is in the house.
Well, I love the fact that because it's before mobile phones, I love the fact the way she has to get through is like ring up her boyfriend, he's not there. You have to leave a message with the parents. And I was just like, shit, you had to do that. I remember doing that. How rubbish is that? Like, oh, get him to come around later on. He's going to come around. He's coming around later on. Get him to bring
Yeah, but it's back in the days where you would knock on your friend's door, and if they weren't in, you'd just go to where you thought they probably were.
But it's just leaving a message for the parents. Why do you want the parents to know what you're up to? You know.
Another great scene here now. We're in the police station. In stumbles Loomis, who's hitchhiked his way to Haddonfield.
I'm here. So
and they're like, whoa.
Like,
And he's like, my name is Doxon. And like, they all look at each other like, yeah, we've heard of you.
Waving his gun around.
Well, as soon as he mentions his name, they're all like, yes, we've heard of you.
Yeah, like, he comes in asking for Sergeant Brackett, which is from the original Halloween film. And they're like, that dude's fucking gone out of here. Like, you should be.
Yeah, they say to him, well, you're at 4,000 miles in the wrong direction. That guy moved 10 years ago or something.
Imagine he probably moved because of Donald Pleasance, because of Dr. Loomis. Do you imagine? Imagine if he still goes and hunts him down. He's retired, just sitting there on his porch. His dog's on his lap, stroking him. He's got a beer, rocking away back and forth with a cigar. Oh, I found you, Brackett. Like, oh no, leave me alone, Loomis. He's escaped again. I think he's come to your retirement home.
Let me guess. You shot him 6 times. Yeah. Right. Okay. Yeah, what's great here is that as soon as the sheriff comes in, he goes, well, I'm the sheriff now. Before he's even finished saying that sentence, Loomis has like fired a million phrases and said, he's like, listen, he's escaped. You don't understand. We must lock down the town now. Get it out on the police stations that there needs to be a curfew issued immediately. And it's like, whoa, take a breath.
It's like Speed Freak, chill out.
And basically he tells him that Michael Myers has escaped. He's heading to Haddonfield. You need to lock the town down. You need to get
they believe him.
The sheriff's like, well...
They believe him, though. I know that it helps with the fact the phone line's down. But yeah.
He says, I suspect he's coming after his niece, Jamie Lloyd. And that's the bit that makes the sheriff think,
And the only reason the phone line's down is because of Dr. Loomis. He was there, scared Michael Myers, so he got in a truck and ran out of the thing, hit the phone line and took it down.
Fucking Loomis.
It's fucking Loomis.
Cut into Michael now, just slowly stalking Jamie and Rachel as they go trick-or-treating. And my favourite and most hilarious moment here...
She does get some friends, though, who want to treat with her.
She does, but just before that, they say... Well, no, just after that, they go, I like your clown costume. And they all go and knock on the door. And old sexy cop stood by the book door. It's the sexy girl from the shop.
Her door opens, does it?
And she says, oh, you kids are so cute. And she gives them all candy. And Rachel stood there. And she recognises her. And then in the background, she sees Brady. And he's been doing the naughty with this girl. Hang on a minute, Brady. We were supposed to be on a date. What on earth's going on? And he's like, whoa, I can explain, Rachel. It's like, you fucking can't explain, mate. You've been caught literally with your pants down. This girl is wearing a thong and a T-shirt and no bra, and you are sat in front of an open, roaring fire with the lights out.
Yep.
I think we all know what's been going on in there.
She's not happy.
She's not a happy bunny. So she runs off, very irresponsibly, leaving Jamie out on the streets with her buddies, who then all leave her as well.
Yeah.
So she's wandering
it's like,
around.
Congratulations, you've got to look after a child who's like, what, how old are we saying here?
She must be about 9, 10.
I'd say 10, 11 maybe. 10 and a half or something. It's like, it's not that hard to communicate with a 10, 11-year-old, say like, don't go off wandering, I can understand though she got carried away with her friends and all that stuff, but yeah, it's like, you've got one job to do, it's just look after her. But I suppose you got sidelined by your boyfriend being boned by cops. Do it by the books.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, I'd do it by the books, but she's absolutely incredibly hot.
She's not.
Oh, well, I think she is.
You're just looking at the size of the boobs. That's what it is.
No. Cops do it by the book. Cut to the TV telling everybody, stay off the streets. There's a curfew.
You've just lost the only thing you're supposed to be doing, and all of a sudden, What is the very chance of a curfew? Very, very, very rare. All of a sudden there's a curfew. Nice one. That's not a good look, is it?
And this TV is in a bar full of absolute drunken rednecks.
Silver bullet style.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's quite amusing.
And they go, this can't be right. Let me just ring the police station.
Well, the bartender's just all of a sudden it's like on the news because it takes over the local TV or whatever. Like, there's a curfew, everybody go home, like, you know, lock your house. And they're like, fuck off. Like, the sheriff wouldn't do that. If aliens landed on his front garden, he would tell them to just fuck off or whatever. So they're like, I'm ringing the station to find out. And the station just rings and rings and rings, which makes them go, oh, that's not good. Right, let's go find out.
Yeah, so they all stand up, pull their guns out, down their beers, and then head on out to their trucks. They're like, well, it's clearly something going down, so let's all go. Wow.
It's just that right crowd almost mentality, isn't it?
The news said, stay inside. These guys heard that and thought, we need to drink more, grab our guns, and head to town.
Did remind me of Scream when they find out the headmaster, the Fonz, has been killed and hung. And they're like, let's go! And they're all fucked and they go drive off.
Imagine if this bar was the bar from VFW, whatever that movie's called. What's that movie with the guys in it who are all veterans of war? Oh. Yeah, VFW.
Yeah.
Imagine if Michael wouldn't stand a chance.
Probably not.
Just saying. Well, Loomis then goes into Jamie's home and he finds photos of Jamie Lee Curtis scattered all over the floor, and he says to the sheriff, he's been here. And you think, why does he know that? And then you see the dead dog. Michael has killed another dog.
It's a no-no. So definitely putting across to the audience that he's not a nice person.
Yeah, Michael doesn't mind killing dogs.
That whole crowd mentality thing that did remind me of one of the recent Halloween movies, second or third, I don't know.
It reminded me of that too.
Yeah. Okay, it's the only time it happens, I think, in any other Halloween movie I could think of, I guess.
Cut to a really mental scene where Michael goes to...
His mask is so shit.
His mask is awful. It looks like it's made out of paper.
It's so bad. It's just like, at any point, why did you go that? The bandages look better.
Just get a Kirk mask.
You could have done bandages for pretty much most of this movie. Have him in it a little bit more, and then all of a sudden, right at the end, be like, put the mask on, and that would have been like a massive crescendo.
Or even just get a mask, you know, maybe it was in the police station in the lockup. Maybe he could take it from there as evidence. And
yeah.
You know, and then you straight away you've got a dirty old horrible version of the mask. But instead he's got this pristine white paper thin looking thing. It just looks like I made it in art class.
And it's honestly like the real poor man's version of the John Carpenter's Halloween.
I think this is the worst mask that Michael wears.
Fred Carpenter directed it.
Michael Mowers.
Fred Engineer.
Now, this next scene is so mental because we've got the power plant for the entire Haddonfield. Michael drives along to it, shows up. You're like, what's he doing here then? What's his plan?
As a kid, I used to watch this movie quite a bit as a kid. I knew this movie quite well. As a kid, when the guys say, hey, man, what you doing here? And he says, Michael stands there, he turns around and goes to walk off. I'm going to go tell someone or, you know, whatever. And then he looks back again and then he carries on walking. As a kid, I knew that was some bad acting. I was like, that's some shit acting.
He says to him,
the way he looks back,
don't you try that Halloween shit on me. I'm going to call the cops. And don't even think about going anywhere. You better stay right where you are.
That's it. And he walks off, looks back again. It's just like, that's some bad acting.
And then Michael just picks him up and throws him into the power plant. Which wipes out the power, the electricity for the entire Haddonfield.
At least Loomis isn't responsible. Later on, I am going to say, I'm not going to get to it just yet, but later on, my favourite actor comes into this, and you wouldn't know who it was. We'll see.
I can't wait to hear who that is. So, no power now. So, add to the mix now. We've got no power, no phone lines.
Lost child, which has a crazy uncle that's come to kill her. Power cut. curfew. This ain't good.
And Loomis has taken out the phone lines.
And Loomis, a drunken Columbo wandering around with a gun.
So Rachel's still looking for Jamie. Jamie's on her own. And finally, then Rachel sees Michael. So she climbs over a fence and gets away from him. And she finally
starts fence jumping all over the place.
Bit of parkour there. She finds Rachel. Jamie finds Rachel finally. She says, "Oh, I've been looking everywhere for you." It's like, "Well, you fucking left me, you dickhead. You're supposed to be looking after me." And then finally, the car pulls up, police car, and you hear, "Jamie, we found you." It's like, "Who are you, old man? What the fuck's happened to your face? You're all burnt up. What's going on here?"
He's with the sheriff. Must be a plausible person that they're just running around and crazily getting all frantic about.
At this point, the sheriff is probably thinking, "What am I doing? I'm letting this crazy old man..."
At some point, he must go,
tell me where to drive.
What are we doing here? What's going on?
And then he says, "Take them to your house." So they're like, "All right, so what? Now I'm going to take you and these two girls to my house."
But what happens, Dan?
Well, Michael is in the shadows watching them.
Not just one Michael, though.
And first of all, he says, "Look, there he is." And then they go, "Look, oh, it's Michael." He says, "Right, stand where you are."
Everybody, put your guns towards the person with the mask on, because it's obviously the killer.
And then suddenly somebody says, "Look over there." And there's another Michael.
Oh, my. And then look over there. There's one more.
Loomis says, "It's impossible."
Oh, my God. Like, what? Loomis, it is possible. It is, because, you know, those masks are sold in the shop just there in town.
For $5.
That's what's possible.
Judging by the quality of them.
The way he responds to it is like he's literally seen, like, "Oh my God, the evil presence has turned into free. It's multiplying."
And then the cops are literally about to shoot this kid in the head. And he says, whoa, it's just a prank.
You definitely know. Just when the camera looks away, Michael, Loomis just pulls out his whiskey bottle, drinks some more. It's, "Oh my God.
I'm seeing triple."
And they're just all going along with it like a mass hallucination type thing. Like, okay, we must go along with this. Like, "Oh my God, there's 3 of them. They must be some ghosts or something. Which one is the real one? Is it like Total Recall with Arnold Schwarzenegger? Which one do we go for?" It's just like, come on, guys. That could be the masks. But what happens?
Well, the plan is for them to take the girls to the sheriff's house, but while they're on their way to do that, we cut to the police station, and it looks like the Terminator has been in there, because
it looks like they just they got 124 for the effects team from the other movie. It looks like, because they just like, "We're not going to show up, we're just going to show you the aftermath," which is cool in a way, but
yeah,
you know, it's a bit cheap.
But who shows up? The town mob show up, don't they? The drunken mob show up, and they see all the dead cops, and they're like, "We knew it. We knew there was a reason we all had our guns and alcohol.
I knew there's a reason why I started drinking at 12 and shooting guns at 5. This day."
So they decide they want to help, and they want to get revenge for Michael, and one of them says, "We're going to fry his ass." So that's it. So they are now a lynch mob who are out driving around in pickup trucks with guns and booze, trying to find Michael Myers. You can make this stuff up, guys. It's brilliant.
Going back to the 3 Michael Myers, it goes to the point where they're about to shoot them, and they put the guns right up to go take them out, and they all go, "Whoa, it's a joke."
That's what I said. He says, "It's a prank."
At what point do you think with your mates, "I've got a prank"? Yeah, but haven't the sheriff's got guns? Yeah, but we're just pretending to be that killer that they're looking for. All right. You don't even do that as a prank, though, do you?
Also, surely it was reported in the news 10 years ago that other kid got killed who had a Michael Myers mask on.
Kids are stupid.
Yeah, they are. That's true. Well, Michael is in the back of a cop car, so he hitches a little lift. And we cut to Jamie's foster parents getting home. The lynch mob starts shooting at a rustling bush. They see a bush literally just rustle a little bit, and they unload hundreds of bullets into this bush. And they run over and they go, "Oh, this is Johnny Smith or whoever it is. Whoops." It's
like when they shoot in Predator. It's exactly the same scenario.
It is.
And actually it would have come out the same year. So, actually year before was Predator 97. It's just ridiculous. And they just go and kill one of the local residents. Oh, well done, pissheads with fucking heavy artillery.
Whoopsie. So we cut back to Brady and Kelly now. So Brady is the boyfriend who's cheating with Kelly, the cop's daughter, and they are getting it on in front of the fire. And he says to her at one point, she takes her top off, and he looks at her breasts, and he says, "I must be in heaven."
He does indeed.
My wife said to me, "Have you ever said that during sex to anyone?" I said, "I don't think so. I've said some weird stuff when I've been drunk or whatever, but I don't think I've ever just said, 'I must be in heaven.'"
No, I don't think I've said that. My favourite actor has already been on the screen very quickly. He does come back. He has a few more roles. It's like he's in a Tarantino film or something, or a different film, a film of higher calibre. It's the sheriff's assistant. First of all, the thing he does is he just goes into the car and he's like sweating. He says, "I heard about the station size," and I was just like, "Where did this acting come from?" And it just cuts. I was like, "What the hell? That's really good."
He's the guy that doesn't know he's got Michael Myers on the back seats of his car.
Yeah. And escorts Michael Myers, and Michael Myers is just like, "Sweet, it's like a lazy Uber.
I'll just lie back here
and sleep." But his acting's really good. It's just like, you are definitely in the wrong movie.
I always love that when really good acting pops up in a movie where you're like, what? Where did that come from?
Straight away I was just like, whoa, calibre of acting's just popped up.
So talking of cock blocks, or maybe cop blocks, so Brady and Kelly, they're getting it on, and he's literally about to enter the gates of heaven, let's say. And then all of a sudden, they hear a car pull up, and she's like, "Oh shit, it's my dad!" Now, not only is her dad coming home, and this is from Brady's point of view, but her dad also happens to be the sheriff who has guns, and he's about to catch his daughter boinking Brady. Well, things can get worse, because actually he's also got Brady's current girlfriend with him, and her little foster sister.
Man, he is soft.
It's like, man, I was just about to get my underwear, now my girlfriend's here. And the other thing is, the sheriff doesn't bat an eyelid that his daughter is in the house with the lights out. All she's got on is a pink thong and a T-shirt.
Yeah,
nothing else.
He knows it's not really the main focus on his mind at the moment.
I would
because he does explain. Yeah, but he does say his stuff to him.
Well, I just think, but the most awkward thing is that poor old Rachel has got to stay in this house with the guy who's supposed to be her boyfriend. Yeah. She's now caught him twice trying to bonk the same girl in the same night, and it's just a bit awkward.
But the sheriff calls this kid over and says, "Hey, take a gun, kid." Gives him a shotgun, and he says, "Security attic, and if you grope my daughter again, I'll use that shotgun on you."
Yeah, I suppose he does.
And he just nods. Mm.
I love the "can you use a gun, kid?" Like, yeah, of course I can. And this is
where Deputy turns up. We've obviously given Michael his Uber.
It does get a bit samey from here on out now, because once Michahel's in the house,
I know it's just like
we're in one location now.
It's kind of boring. Yeah. Yeah, you're right.
You know, I like it when we keep cutting back to the lynch mob, and obviously the sheriff's really annoyed, and he does, and it's a good reason for him to leave. He says, "I've got to go out there because you created a lynch mob, Loomis."
Well, he does it a bit. Well, we get to the point where Jamie is upstairs, freaked in the bedroom with her foster sister, and the kid comes up, who's like her boyfriend, supposed to be, whatever, and explains. She says, her Uncle Michael's just fucking come along, and he's gone crazy, and he's back, and he's just like, what the fuck? Because he's just been told, go upstairs and nail up the windows, and like, what's going on? Like, it's, you know, you would be a bit freaked out on what that is.
Yeah, it goes in the attic, and
this is annoying though. The sheriff and assistant's like, right, what we could do is it they're not there to to protect
Jamie.
Is that what they're doing, or are they just hiding away from Michael Myers?
Well, both. I think they're barricading. What their plan is to barricade themselves in the house. I don't know what they're going to do after that.
I know, totally. And I do really like the next scene with my favourite actor. There's just a bit of light on him, and he's slowly staring at the door with a shotgun in a rocking chair, going back and forwards. the older foster sister comes down, and she's like, "What's going to happen?" You're just going to stay here, and just going back and forward. Doesn't look at her once. I was like, "You're in a Tarantino film. What are you doing here?" It's weird.
Well, she gets told to go and make coffee.
Got to make some coffee.
So she does, and the sheriff, in the meantime, gets a call on the radio to say there's a lynch mob going around just shooting everyone who looks even remotely like a killer.
The best bit he does on Rocket Chair, he says, "Go make some coffee," and he just goes, "It won't be long." It's just rocking back and forth, staring with a shotgun. It's like, this is so good.
Well, she comes back to him after the sheriff's left. Kelly comes back to this cop in the rocking chair, and as she approaches him, she goes, "I got your coffee here." And it's not the sheriff, it's not the deputy. It's Michael sitting
Myers.
in the chair.
In the shadows, sits up with a gun. And so Michael Myers got a shotgun. That's something we've not had before. And the sheriff's dead. My favourite actor, out. In and out.
She sees him on the floor, doesn't she? That's how she knows it's not actually him in the chair, because she sees the body on the floor before Michael stands up.
Dead, Will.
Michael, not really very good at using guns. He doesn't know how to operate a gun. He, instead of shooting Kelly, he impales her with the gun.
Oh yeah, he does. I was wondering where he stuck it at first, but we do find out.
Fucking hell. Double barrel. He just rams it right through her.
Is that a sex move?
Probably.
The double barrel.
Do you want to fancy a bit of the old double barrel tonight, love?
The old pump action.
2 pumps and a squirt. Done and dusted. That's me.
I'm thinking hashtag pumpy, but that's the High Strangeness podcast, episode 69, when Death Goes Wrong. Check it out.
I know what you're talking about. So yeah, he's killed. Michael then picks up a knife. Yay! He's finally got his favourite weapon. Woohoo! So he's complete. His transition is complete. He's got his overalls. He's got his shit mask, and he's got a knife from the kitchen. Welcome back, Michael. Welcome back.
Yeah, totally. They find the bodies, don't they? And it's again kind of homaging the original, but just with no tension.
Yeah, so Rachel and Danielle Harris, they come downstairs, find all the bodies. They decide they can't get out of the house.
Yeah. Okay, let's discuss this. He's like, door's locked, right? I'm going to shoot her with a shotgun.
I was just about to bring this up.
Shoots it and goes over to it and says, and she says, "What's wrong?" And he says, "It's metal." And she goes, "What's that mean?" "We're not going anywhere." I'd be like, whoa, what?
Where's
why?
the key?
Are you allergic to metal? Like, what's the problem?
Well, I think he says it's hot after shooting it, but surely
that's
just let it cool down.
Or you get a t-shirt and just move it. It's just like, well, what do you mean? We're not going anywhere because it's metal.
And this is my biggest plot hole. Really, is my biggest plot hole really is they can't seem to get out of a house. There's windows, there's a back door somewhere. Instead, they all go up into the attic.
It's like the budget went and they're like... But it's the rehash of after part 3. I don't understand why we make this. I think it's probably like we've got to rush this through. I guess. I don't know.
Well, instead they all go through the attic window up onto the roof.
No, they don't. The guy goes up and he turns around and has like a Vincent Price on top of the stairs. Not Vincent Price, Peter Vincent and like, you know, Charlie in Friday Night on the top of the staircase right in the middle. They have like this fight Michael Myers does with the kid.
That's right. Brady fights him, doesn't he? And he gets killed.
Which, to be fair, does the right job at having trying to have a fight with Michael Myers.
Well, he's a big lad, you know, he probably plays American football.
Yeah, I would like to see Michael Myers versus Jason. I think that would be quite good.
My money be on Jason.
Yeah, mate, yeah, I'd like to see, yeah.
I'd like to see that too. But we never will, sadly.
No. Oh, well, unless we did a fan film.
Yeah, that's true. So, yeah, they're on the roof. Michael's followed them up onto the roof. The girls slip and they slip down the roof, but they sort of land up against the chimney.
Just as they're going up the stairs, though, she turns around, turns around the stairs and says, "Leave us alone." And then goes, "Leave us alone." Almost like a teacher or I don't know, expecting Michael to go, "All right."
Sorry.
She realises...
Imagine if he just went, "Oh, sorry."
She realises that doesn't work. Maybe try colourful language possibly next time. But she didn't realise this doesn't work, so she blocks the staircase a bit to slow him down. And then they get to the roof, and my notes are now, film has got boring.
Yeah, so Rachel then starts lowering Jamie down on a piece of rope.
The music is, I think Alan Howarth, he took over from John Carpenter. He was like a composing partner with John Carpenter, kind of. But the music in it is so lackluster. It's the weak as anything. It's the music we know, played with like the weakest sounding instruments, which have no meat to them at all. So hang on, how did John Carpenter do it years ago? Because he has some nice, good synthesizers. Now you just go. Yeah.
Well, to cut a long story short, Rachel falls off the roof, dies, but doesn't, because she sort of looks like she might be dead, but she isn't. Jamie manages to
She doesn't die then, dies but doesn't.
She looks like she's dead, but then she comes back in a minute.
She falls off and looks fucked like you would have.
Yeah, but she's fallen off the roof. Yeah, exactly. Danielle Harris gets down. Michael is on the roof, and then Danielle Harris turns around and he stood there. How did he get?
He may have Buster Rhymes pop up for just 10 minutes and run through.
Well, I want to know how he got off the roof in about 3 seconds. He either jumped down or climbed back through the attic and out the front door.
And it's just chased. I watched an amazing thing the other day where people were testing if they could get away from Michael Myers, and Michael Myers just standing there, just slowly walking along behind them as they all run off, and each person just trying it with the keys. Most of them got away, but some of them would get him as he'd turn up. But it was so funny just seeing, like, just in this movie, like, say, this is the bit I didn't really think of when you said about it, but yeah, all of a sudden he's just downstairs. I did think that, and then all of a sudden it's like, now he's chasing him. It's like, oh, bored.
Jamie starts running and screaming.
Finds Loomis.
Rachel wakes up, so she isn't dead. And yes, Loomis grabs Jamie and says, for no reason at all, he says, let's go to the school.
Yeah, and where does he come from?
He can teleport as well.
Let's go to the school. Why?
I don't know why. He says we need to go somewhere where we can be safe.
How do you know that you can break into the school?
The school isn't safe. It's like a fucking maze in there with loads of doors and fire exits and windows.
Why don't you get in a car and drive away?
I don't know. It's Loomis, isn't it? So they break it. So he's now breaking and entering into the school with a child.
You got the drunk guys on the way to the school as well for some reason. I don't know how they knew.
Michael's in the school and he throws Loomis through a window.
And that's Loomis out of the picture for the moment.
So Jamie's on her own in the school. She falls down some stairs. Michael starts walking towards her, and then here comes Rachel with a fire extinguisher.
Here comes Rachel
with a fire extinguisher, and she blasts Michael with the fire extinguisher. This is a guy that's been shot 6 times. He's been smashed, burnt, stabbed. But a fire extinguisher seems to, make him back off a little bit. Great. The lynch mob show up. They rescue the girls. Don't worry, girls. Stick with us and our guns.
Listen, we'll be safe. We're not drunk with shotguns.
And then the troopers arrive. The state troopers arrive.
The excitement of the drunk guys is that they shoot into the air when they see the cops coming.
Amazing. Absolutely amazing. Michael is then he's on the back of the truck as they drive away. I don't know how he's been clinging on that whole time. He's like the Terminator. He's like the T-1000 in Terminator 2. He just somehow he's on the back of the truck and he starts climbing up on the back of the truck while they're driving along, singing like yeah la la la, and he just starts throwing them off the truck. None of them notice he's there doing that.
There's 3 of them on there. There's 2 of them at the front of that, and one of them, the last one, he doesn't realise the people next to him are fighting
screaming.
A killer. Right next to him. He doesn't realise that it goes on for a while. It's crazy.
And then he turns around, he gets killed as well, and then Michael leans in and rips the driver's face off with his bare hand.
He rips a chunk out of his neck. It's like, whoa, it's a bit American Elf in London almost or something.
So Rachel takes the wheel, Michael falls off and she rams him with the car.
Yep.
And he lands in some kind of ditch.
Graveyard sort of thing.
Yeah. And the cops all arrive. And while they're all sort of, doing their job...
The sheriff turns up and he looks to the older foster sister and says, are you all right? And she's like, and he screams really loudly in her face, are you all right? No, that's not how you ask her if she is all right. Are you okay? Like,
but while he's busy screaming in her face, what he doesn't notice is that little Jamie's just gone over to the body of Michael Myers.
Yep.
Great. Brilliant. Good job, Sheriff. She goes over to Michael and she touches his hand.
Oh, is this supposed to be... Okay.
Like the transfer of power or something? I don't know.
Really?
I've never really thought of that, to be honest with you. But now you said that, maybe that's where people are going back and saying, "Oh, that's when it happened." I don't know.
But then they should have had then a close-up of the hand touching the hand and to signify it.
Well, anyway, Michael sits up. They blast him and
They shoot him into like a grave, drops down, and like there's a bit of an avalanche onto him of rubble.
It's like a well or a hole in the ground. Anyway, he goes down there.
And then they're back at the house. It's like the aftermath. They're in they're like nursing Jamie all round the sofa. They've got the mum, the dad, the cops, and stuff like that.
The power's back on. Don't forget, it's all come on as well.
Donald Pleasance just turns up looking totally fucked. He looks so fucked. It's unbelievable. And just says, "They survived this ordeal, and they will survive its memory." What? What does that mean?
He says she survived this ordeal, so she'll survive this memory. As in, if she got through tonight,
she could get through the memory of it.
Yeah,
right.
She's strong, is what he's saying.
And then he just wanders off.
Then he's like, "See ya." Like, who the fuck was that drunken old man with a half a burnt face? Doesn't matter. Don't worry about it.
Scotch eggs in the fridge?
And some shots. I'll have 6 shots. He vanishes.
Shots?
And then Jamie decides to put her clown mask back on.
And it's the OG film of the POV through the mask with the breathing. Straight away we're being reminded of the original again. Stop doing it.
And she goes in to visit her foster sister Rachel, who survived falling off a building.
And what happens?
We don't see what happens, but we see Jamie step out after screaming.
Do some Donald Pleasance.
Yeah, well, let's describe it and then we'll do that. So she walks up onto the landing after some screaming, and little Jamie's there, covered in blood, with a knife dripped with blood.
Like the original.
And
bottom of the stairs, looking down the stairs, come around the corner, Donald Pleasance comes around. Oh!
And Loomis clearly is having PTSD, and he just looks at her and goes, "No, my worst nightmare."
Tries to shoot her. Sheriff pulls it down. The sheriff
he goes to shoot a child.
The sheriff just stares, looking up like the dad, and then the mum. No, the dad. It's not the old foster sister. It's the mum. Is it mum or is it foster she shoot?
Foster.
Oh, okay. So the dad and the mum come around the corner and just stare. They don't go, "Right, we best run up there and find what's happened to the foster sister. That might be our daughter's blood." They just stare.
And
like the original.
My note does say that Jamie is a monster, and that refers to the fact that when she was at school, they were all saying, "You're a monster, you're a boogeyman." And she says a couple of times, "Am I a monster like my Uncle Michael?" Well, yes, you fucking are, because you just killed your foster sister.
I don't remember this ending.
I remember that.
Remember it. No.
And if I remember rightly, in the next one, she's mute.
Oh, God.
Is that right?
One. And the next one's got the man in black, the weird cowboy man.
Isn't that number 6?
Oh, I don't know.
I think that's number 6. Next one's got Ant-Man in it.
One.
Paul Rudd's in the 5th one, I think. Or is that the 6th?
That's 6. That's 6. But next one's the man in black, which they're like, "We're going to put down a story." Then after they did that, because they had no idea for it, they went, "No, we're not going to bother anymore."
That man in black with a cowboy hat, he reminds me of the bounty hunter in Friday the 13th, Jason Goes to Hell. You know, the guy that's hunting him down?
Yeah.
It could have been the same character, but it isn't. But that's Halloween, not Friday the 13th. That's Halloween Part 4. Yeah. The return of Michael Myers. He returned.
He did.
He got run over and shot and pushed down a hole in the ground and somehow transferred his evil to Danielle Harris.
Evil.
New Year's evil. And that's our review of the film.
Do I give it a thumbs up? I don't really think so, unless you really need to watch the Halloween movies. Like, 1, 2, and 3 are kind of fun. The Rob Zombie ones are something to watch, I suppose. They've got their own thing at least, you know, to think about them. It's a different take. And then you've got H2O, which is fun. That's one I like.
H20.
And Resurrection, I've had on rotation at Halloween, just in the background, because it's kind of shit. I'm wandering into the room and it just be on, and Buster Rhymes going, "Come on, Mikey, let's have a fight," and whatever he says.
I give it a thumbs up because in the same way
I
that
give it the Jeremy Beadle thumbs up, I guess.
In the same way that with the Freddy movie, maybe not anymore after the fourth one, if you turn off 1 or 2 parts of your brain and just have it on and know what you're going in for.
Yeah.
You get what you get.
This
but
is
I think
simpler
with this one,
to follow than
I was going to say,
4.
if you go into this one switching off those parts of your brain, you're actually going to be pleasantly surprised, I think. Ignoring some of the weird plot devices like, is Jamie Lee Curtis dead? Does she get transferred the evil? Ignore all of that and just go along with the ride of Michael's out there, he's hunting people down, Loomis is acting nuts, and Daniel Harris is screaming and running, and there's a girl in a t-shirt that says "Cops do it by the book." If you want to watch all of that shit, I think you're going to enjoy this.
Yeah, I agree.
So I'd say a thumbs up. I'd say actually, like I said earlier, I preferred it this time around, and I actually slightly unpreferred Freddy 4. So that's where I'm at on this one. The scales have tipped.
Okay, man, cool. All right, let's get out of here for the outro.
Okay. We're back to say goodbye.
Or if you just forward through the whole thing, you've just stopped at this point, well,
hello.
Here, hello, how you doing?
Hello!
My name's Gav, this is Dan.
This is Dr. Loomis!
And this is the outro.
I enjoy these franchise face-offs. They're fun. It's good to go back and look at these series of movies, and I like looking at the Jason movies that we're doing as well. So as much as these movies have flaws when you review them, they're still just there for what they are, really, which is, it was the 80s. They were knocking out one a year, believe it or not. It's crazy that they were doing that. And
yeah, it's you know, I'm not going to watch Nightmare on Elm Street 4 ever again, but it's interesting to watch them again and compare them both being at 88 and talk about the old effects sort of side of that and stuff. And it's interesting to watch. Yeah. I like it. To keep me watching movies though, obviously there's certain things that everyone likes different things for different reasons. But a story is always something I like. A story I could just follow, or something I can really get into and lose myself in, is what it comes down to at the end of the day. Yeah.
Well, sadly, if you want a good plot or story, then you need to stay away from these two franchises, because especially Halloween, it just goes all over the fucking place. Yeah. But that's a story for another time. Talking of another time, shall we talk about what's coming up next?
Yeah, because we're going to bang out another one, because it's October. We've got a Halloween special basically coming up.
Our Halloween special. Our next episode is episode 142, and yeah, that is Halloween special. So we picked a couple of really fun, silly Halloween movies that we both love. Hubie Halloween. Yeah. With Adam Sandler. Oh, Adam Sandler.
And I imagine it's a bit like Marmite. Some people are going to not like it. And not want to watch it, but we kind of like it. It's what would you do? It's very seasonal.
Yeah, it's got a lot of the atmosphere that we described for the Halloween.
It's just kind of fun. It's not serious. So fuck it.
Rewatching it recently, it was kind of like almost like a live action Monster House in parts of it.
Yeah, there's some good little bits in it, and the other one is kind of my choice, and I love this film. It's the first time I saw the Universal monsters and a Universal production.
Yeah, so it's Abbott and Costello meet Frankenstein, which is the best out of the Abbott and Costello ones. They also met Dracula, and they met the Invisible Man, but this is the best one because it's got all the monsters in it in little
and the mummy
parts. Yeah, Mummy's in it, Invisible Man, they're all in this.
Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, they've met before in a different
Oh,
ones.
have they? Oh, God, I didn't realise there was 5. I thought there was only 3.
There's other films.
Yeah.
No, it's a really good one when they go to England and it's in the police station and one of them changes. I really like this film. I'm a big fan of this film. I love it, in fact.
So one from 1948 and one from 2020. So really, 50 years or more apart, 60 years apart.
Please, if you haven't seen Abbott Costello Meet Frankenstein, watch it before we review it, because it is you could watch it with your kids if you've got kids. It's a real fun movie.
Yeah, so that's going to be really fun. So that's our Halloween special. We'll obviously be covering off our 31s and just talking general Halloween nonsense and traditions and just getting excited, and that's, it's our Christmassy type episode almost. So that's what's happening there. After that, it's episode 143, which is a patron special. Now, I'm waiting on 2 patrons to get back to me. So I got a message for one of our patrons, Sarah K. Sarah, I have messaged you. If you are listening, please get back to me if you want to partake in patron picks, because you are up if you want.
But
however,
don't feel pressured.
Yeah, no pressure at all.
And we can just miss it. If you don't message back, we understand that as well. So
yeah, 100%. But at any point, if you want to get involved, we will bump you to the next in the queue.
Yeah, just say, I thought of 2 movies, and go, cool. What can we talk about?
I'm also got Rachel, our other patron, who it looks like she's about to drop me over the next couple of days her picks, so it may well be Rachel's pick. But either way, it should be a patron's pick.
And again, no pressure, Rach.
Yeah, no pressure at all, Rach. Whatever you pick is your choice, and we will gladly discuss them. And if Rach, you don't get to us in time, then it will skip back to the very first patron. Which is Matthew Godley, and I know he's already got his 2 movies picked out. So either way, it will be a patron pick. We just cannot tell you right now what 2 films it will be, so that's quite exciting. A nice little surprise. And then after that, for episode 144, The Baker's Dozen, that is going to be Chud and Basket Case. We're finally getting to do our gritty, dirty New York special effects, crazy weirdness. So next 2 episodes looking like that, and then we're gearing up. Really, we're getting closer to Christmas. So
I presume then afterwards it'd be Christmas.
It might be. We might have another one before.
We have to. Yeah, so it's a bit hard to know at the moment, isn't it?
Yeah. Our schedule will be a bit loose at the moment.
By the way, that is also our 10-year anniversary episode. We should kind of make that a bit more special.
Yeah, so our Christmas
so we
episode
can
will be
do
10
like
years.
the whole listeners, you guys messaging stuff if you want to.
Yeah, I'll probably put something out the month leading up to that, just to remind you all, if you want to send us voice clips or just messages or whatever it is, we will give shout outs
and stuff. And 10 years,
all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, because we know what we're doing for Christmas episode already, don't we?
We do. We're doing National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, because
Which
it's
isn't
not a horror movie,
but we just,
we absolutely love that movie, and we just wanted to do something special for our 10th year. And then going into our 10th year, we're toying with the idea, and I'll just put this out there and you guys can tell us what you think. We were toying with the idea of every episode we release in 2024 to celebrate our 10th year of podcasting. Every episode we release...
But that does screw up, though, some things.
Well, every episode we release except for Christmas and a couple of birthday episodes and our patron picks, rather than just pick 2 random movies off of our list of ever-growing movies to review, we were going to do a director special each time. So it's always going to be 2 movies by a director. So, for example, we can come back to John Carpenter, Wes Craven, George Romero, but there's other directors we haven't touched on yet as well. Plenty out there. I've got a big list which I sent over to Gav. So we might do something like that just to keep the year 10 quite special, because saying that out loud, year 10, that's a pretty fucking big achievement, if I do say so. It's pretty awesome. Most shows don't go past a year, so the fact that we've been doing this nonsense for 10 years,
I like it.
Awesome.
Not that many episodes though.
Well, 144 episodes, yeah.
And also though, we've got the series ones like the Final Destination, things like that. So we've been doing those as well. But other ones like direct episodes would be quite cool.
Yeah, we still want to do Freddy 5 and Halloween 5.
Well, you want to do Freddy 5, but
we still want to do our summer tradition of the next 2 Friday the 13th movies. So yeah, there's stuff that we, but I'll come up with a plan as always, Gab. Trust me. And just like Michael and B.A. Baracus in an 18 van smashing out of a petrol station, we'll be there blasting our way along 2024. That's a weird imagery for you there.
Yep.
Okay, cool. Well, before we say our goodbyes and our thank yous, I will do some admin. If that's all right with y'all.
Go for it.
Let's do it. Okay, so we are the podcast on Haunted Hill. Of course we are. You've been listening to us for about 10 hours. Thank you. We're a proud member of Legion Podcast Network. You can find out more about them if you go to legionpodcast.com. You can find out about us and all the other shows that are on the network. If you go on Facebook, go to Legion Podcast Facebook page. Can join up there. We've got a Facebook page, which is where we're most active, especially this time of year. Just to remind you all, post up your 31s, what movies you're watching. It's just a fantastic time of year to be on that Facebook page, and all that is the podcast on Haunted Hill. Just go on Facebook and search for us there.
Thanks for all your input, peoples.
Wherever you're listening to us now is where you can continue to listen to us. We're on most podcast platforms or podcatchers: Spotify, YouTube, Podknife, Apple, Podcast Addict. And you can email me and Gav at the podcast on Haunted Hill at outlook.com, or you can instant message me on the old Facebooky. And we are also on Instagram, the podcast on Haunted Hill Insta. We've mentioned Star Wars Sanctuary Moon. Good time to pause, and you can tell us the updates on that, Gavin.
Yeah, we're going for mid-November release. That's what we're going for now. So I'm just getting it finished. I am literally today just putting in some sound effects and stuff and a little bit of sound design to it, and just trying to get all the audio sorted out, because someone else was going to help me do that, but they've been a bit busy, so I'm jumping on it. Otherwise we can't keep waiting for people, and it's taking too long. We need to get this finished so we can start doing the next project. Yeah, it's real close. Mid-November release. So there you go.
Awesome. So that is our through Deadbolt Films, which is our production company. So to find out more there, just go to deadboltfilms.com, YouTube channel Deadbolt Films, and Deadbolt Films Instagram. And then finally, we're on Patreon. So if you want to help us continue to grow and you want to support the show in a monetary fashion, you don't have to do this at all. We'd be doing this without any money coming in, but we really appreciate any help that we can get to buy equipment, rent movies, buy movies, and keep the show ticking along with the production value that we've got over the last 10 years. Yes. Yeah, so thank you to all our patrons. If you want to become a patron, all you need to do is go to Patreon and search for the podcast on Haunted Hill. If you can't find that, just message me or email us on that email address I mentioned, and I'll send you a link. Whether it's $1 a month or $1,000 a month, which that's silly. No one, please don't do that. But well, if you want to, you can do it. But yeah, anything helps really. If you become a patron, you will get access to all of our past shows. I'm releasing old shows every Friday. We call it Freaky Friday through Patreon. Bonus episodes, video episodes. You'll get a free T-shirt in one of 3 colours in your size, and you'll get a shout out at the end of every episode. And very excitingly, you get to, in the queue to become a patron pick, and you get to pick 2 movies that me and Gav review. You can also send us a message about why you picked them, what you love and what you don't love about them, etc., etc., and we'll read all that out. And basically, you will be the king and or queen of that episode.
Non-gendered king. It's a mixture of queen and king. Cocaine.
That's why I say king and or queens. You can be both. You can do whatever. You can be whatever you want. But yes, so it leads me to thank all of our patrons individually, and as is tradition, each of you will get a silly voice. So thank you ever so much to Don Goldia, Matthew Godley. It's just going to be one voice. Jamie Jenkins.
Thank you kindly.
Kevin S5.
Thank you very much.
Sarah K.
Thank you kindly.
Rachel.
Thank you very much.
RJ McCready.
Thank you kindly.
And Lex Boo.
And thank you very much.
6 times. I shot them 6 times.
What, the patrons? Don't shoot the patrons.
No.
Thank you guys. Always, we so totally appreciate it. We like to entertain you guys and fill your holes in your head with our mouth vibrations.
Not the hole in your head with Michael Myers' thumb like he did in Halloween 4. So yeah, thanks guys, and thanks to everybody who listens, supports, jumps on Facebook, shares what you're watching, what you're doing, and just generally is awesome. Yep. So thank you everybody. Gav and I love doing this, and
we do.
That's it.
So it's just nice having patrons because we know at least those patrons are listening to us if no one else is.
Indeed.
And we are happy to keep you all happy.
So it's a good night from a crazy paedophile drunken Catholic priest in a pickup truck who picks up an even crazier Dr. Loomis.
Hunting children.
So it's a good night from him.
Him and Loomis. Like,
what a double act.
What if he says, I hope you don't mind, I'm going to pick up this hitchhiker, this young child. And it's stuck in the middle of them. Loomis drinking with a gun, just looking at you, winking. Oh my God. It's a good night from them. Good night from Michael Myers.
Fucking hell.
He don't say anything, he don't talk.
It's a good night from the Fat Boys doing a little rap with Freddy Krueger.
It's a good night from Freddy who's on holiday with his postcard.
And it's a good night from girl trying to boink a boy in front of her dad.
It's not totally in front of him.
Well, it's not in front of her dad, but like almost. She almost gets caught. Yeah. That's weird. That was a weird one. Sorry about that.
To end on, isn't it? Don't want to finish on that.
All right, let me finish on this. It's a good night from Marge Simpson wearing a giraffe poo necklace.
Finishing on that. Yeah, good night, everybody.
Good night. Stay safe. And remember, if you hear a strange noise, it's probably just Dr. Loomis knocking out the power lines.
I'm at the door. Don't let him in. I'm at the window. Don't let him in.
I've got your pizza.
I'm coming down your chimney. You'll make a mess. Stop it.
Oh,
good night, everybody. Thank you for listening to the podcast on Haunted Hill. We will be back again real soon.